And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pinnacle Cup, getting into our second two best of threes of the day here for the quarterfinals. We've already seen Sinners and Forza progress out of their invitation spots and look forward to the semi-finals to take on their respective sides coming in from the other matches. Will there be two more invitees into the next stage? We'll have to find out. I'm the Eternal J. I'm joined by Dweg, as per usual, dressed in black, pretty dapper looking himself. How you doing today, man?
Mate, I'm feeling fresh, feeling ready, and you mentioned a couple of results happen already. Couple of slammers a little bit earlier on into the day, and I wondered to myself, are we going to get anything similar now into the last couple of games of the day?
Yeah, 2-0s across the board. As we focus to the upper end of our bracket, you can see how the Sinners side were able to fare against Copenhagen Flames. 2-0 doesn't reflect the entire situation of that particular matchup, I don't think, with 16-12 and 16-14 coming in. So maybe Endpoint and HAVU can be the closer affair as well, coming into our first matchup of this second half of the day. But looking into the lower side of the bracket, we can also update you as to how things went, of course, for the Forza and Skade series. Although, if you've been tuning in since before the break, then you know already how that one went down. Overtime on the first map, dominant on the second one, Forza. Still showing that despite not appearing in a massive amount of tournaments in previous, still showing that they can still do a lot of damage here in the Tier 2 scene.
Yeah, Forza kind of slept under the radar a little bit this year, because last year they were playing a massive amount, they were making a really big name for themselves. Just feels like 2021, they're not playing in a massive amount, but they're still looking really comfortable. They're looking a really confident team, and this could be their event for them to kind of prove themselves, to go really deep and have a good run.
Indeed, we're looking forward to see whether they can take on their CIS brethren in Team Spirit. But that match is coming up a little bit later on today. Again, we're going to focus fire here on Endpoint versus HAVU. Not the match that we expected to see, because we have seen the Endpoint-ENCE matchup always been a close affair between those two sides. But with HAVU just barely edging out the series yesterday against the ENCE camp, they're going to be taking on this British squad who have been looking a lot more comfortable here in Pinnacle Cup by comparison to their other campaigns in the Tier 2 space. We know that Endpoint can be wildly inconsistent, but their run through the Swiss stage was absolutely flawless, Twag.
Yeah, when you look at themselves and the performance they've had so far in this event, they're a threat. For sure they are. They beat Copenhagen Flames, they beat MIBR, they beat Skade, and a couple of those were 2-0s, a couple of those were one-sided affairs. So Endpoint in this event have looked very impressive, and getting that spot in towards the quarterfinals, you've got to wonder, did they start the last couple of days doing preparation up against ENCE? Because you can imagine they didn't expect to be playing HAVU today.
Indeed, I wonder how much really they can prepare against the HAVU side, who had been looking like a good force in yesterday's matchup. Again, the same issues apply with Disturbed, of course, being in the fifth man slot here, but this is a very good Disturbed that we've seen in yesterday's matchup. He was the top fragger in that series, and it's so shocking to see that from HAVU.
Yeah, he looked really good on the last map of Overpass in particular. I think he had a 1-on-3 clutch. He had some decent moments, and he was putting the fragging up. So for Disturbed, yeah, it's not the best of circumstances, of course, for HAVU, but he's filling in where he can, and he's finding impact.
A lot of it, again, so surprising to see how well he did in that previous series, and definitely could be a major player in the HAVU Endpoint series today, because this is a matchup that HAVU have barely even dropped a match against in the past. We've seen a couple of meetings between these two teams, and it's always gone in the favor of HAVU. 3-0 in best of threes, and 6-1 in terms of the map record. So I think the veto is going to be very important for Endpoint to win out here. We can see it coming up on screen. Nuke and Vertigo banned out first and foremost. That makes a lot of sense, I feel like. Overpass and Dust 2 picked in again. Overpass making quite a lot of sense, I think, for the Endpoint camp, and Inferno being our last map today. What do you make of this veto?
Well, thank goodness HAVU don't have to play Nuke again, because that was atrocious in the game yesterday. Knowing that's an insta-ban for Endpoint, you're happy about that one in terms of the maps that can get played. Overpass coming through. We know that for Endpoint, Overpass for the majority of the year wasn't really a map they were been picking into, but since they brought Thomas and Messi back into the lineup, it seems like they've been updating their pool a little bit, and they picked it in their last couple of games in the event so far. Very, very comfortable Overpass team. Dust 2, on the other hand, HAVU have proven themselves to be lights out on Dust 2.
You know, lights out yesterday against the ENCE side. That was a close affair in that first map of the series, but ultimately it was HAVU that came out on top. I look towards the third one as being a very interesting factor, though, because in spite of it being a third map here for the Endpoint side, they actually play it a little bit more in the last few months by comparison to Overpass. So they've got a decent basis to work from. The issue is the win rate for me. But I look at this and I think to myself that they've got a really, really good veto here on the basis of that third map.
Yeah, the problem with HAVU is they don't really play Ancient, so they have to ban it out in the second wave of the veto, and it doesn't give them many options, so have to go in towards Inferno. It's a decent win rate, they don't play at a massive amount, so all in all for Endpoint, they could be very happy with how this has panned out, knowing that Inferno is that last map.
100%, absolutely. I agree. I look at this veto and I feel like Endpoint has sort of got the victory above the HAVU side. And even though HAVU have constantly taken maps away from the Endpoint camp and series away from Endpoint in previous history, it's a very different lineup now compared to the series we've seen before. Again, Yemi is not here, and even though we did see some impressive stuff from Disturbed Wag, can we really rely on him to replicate performance every single series?
Of course you can't. You don't have to be kidding, right? This guy's a coach, so he's just standing in. What you can, I guess, apply in every single game is that he's filling in the gaps. You know, he's making sure that he's setting his teammates up. He's making sure that he's trying to get more success out of them than focusing on himself being the star player. But yeah, Disturbed might have a good map here or there. You've got to rely on the other individuals. You can't just say, Disturbed, mate, come back. You're 28 years old, haven't played Counter-Strike at this kind of a level for years. Yeah, mate, you're going to be our star player.
Well, HAVU certainly shouldn't be in this spot. They should have been eliminated in the last round of the Swiss stage. So they've been kind of given a second lifeline, which they've carried forward so far to the quarterfinals. But Endpoint, they were 3-0 in the Swiss stage. They have had an absolute run here in Pinnacle. So I look forward to seeing them as the favorites in this series. I'm going to go 2-1 towards them.
Yeah, I'm going to join you on that one. 2-1 up Endpoint. I'd like to hope that HAVU can really show us some class, because there were moments in that ends game where HAVU looked really impressive and deserved that victory.
Absolutely. I feel like HAVU, especially on this first map of Overpass, which they were playing in against the End side in the last map of that series, just able to edge it out on the comeback. Let's see whether they can get an early start this time around. It's Pistols in for the CT start for them. I do have Zori set into the bathrooms, looking out towards the mid control. Seeing nothing of Endpoint as of right now, but two placed around that corner, including the bomber Mighty Max now being seen. Zori doesn't land a kill shot, and neither did the T side land a tag.
Look at the bottom of the monster. But Zori gets away with a couple of kills, and with all that fake attempt to try to show the bomb but have a play out to the B side, just gets cancelled.
That one came out of nowhere. Now Aerial comes in against Surreal. It's a 4 versus 2. This whole thing has fallen apart for Endpoint with 2 simple taps on 2 simple bullets, and Zori's looking for more out towards mid. Mezzy wondering how the hell he gets this together. We'll try fight in alongside Thomas. They will tag Aerial down a little bit, but Zori's still facing here.
My goodness, sorry. That really did come out of nowhere. That was so unexpected for him to have that kind of performance. And everyone is just around this divided position. They've got to make sure they're not getting too hungry.
Zori finally gets dealt with on the part of Thomas, so that's one good trade back, but him and Mezzy are so low here. The newest signings of this roster have been around for a number of months here, but still got a lot to prove of their own right. And Thomas, if he can make a clutch happen, it's not going to come to be. It's all left to Mezzy in the 1v3. Tagged at the 9 points of health, 12 seconds to the clock. He's out of this round. He's got to go down and get the money bonus, because this will be a pistol for HAVU, and he will just charge straight forward. No info to where Disturbed is. Wraps that corner and finally does go down.
And I was just trying to make the point of what Endpoint were doing. They had a really nice setup. So they tried to fake the bomb out from bathrooms. They still had 2 players outside of like T-Spawn watching Monster. And one of the CTs was getting hyper aggressive. It looked like that whole play was just going to be able to get a man advantage. Instead, none of that is possible, because Zori just gets 2 highly impact kills so damn quickly.
Watch those taps again. That is dumb. That is absolutely dumb. But it works for HAVU. Again, all-important pistol to get them started here on the CT half. And Endpoint just down to the early pistols and the shotguns out for the likes of Crucial. Sawn off, set in for the Endpoint camp and playing close quarters in Connector. But much like yesterday, HAVU are playing very passive here.
I don't know why we're seeing a shotgun coming out, especially on T side. But hey, maybe Crucial's got something up his mind of what he wants to find out of this. And Force Buy in for Endpoint haven't had a massive round of Force Buy conversions being successful in the event so far. Trying to see if they can answer back. HAVU taking this like just with so many SMGs, not having many rifles at all.
Oh, Crucial domes up slowly on the jump face, and that lack of range will cost him. Lack of accuracy will cost him indeed. So he'll just wait for more out towards this short control, expecting there to be some CT push, but hold back at the monster entrance. Nothing out towards Graffiti or Heaven.
Just trying to wait for another mistake. Try and see if they can group up, put a smoke down to just try and force X7 off angle.
One player wraps the corner. X7 looking in for a bit more on Mighty Max's part. Gets it to a 4 versus 4. Disturbed turns around on Thomas. The shot he just jumps straight through, gets cleaned up regardless. And the SMG of Disturbed can get a 3K. Solid start for him in his last couple of rounds. 5 frags already for the man. And if he can pop off, then we saw what he could do yesterday.
Yeah, you got to remember there are coaches out there that haven't had playing experience and they've just got the tactical mind, but they've never been able to prove it into officials. You look back at the career for Disturbed, he played at majors, he played for a very, very long time, even played with some of the HAVU guys before he transitioned over towards a coach. So, yeah, you're not going to be able to rely on him in so many of these situations, but he can still frag.
Proved that yesterday, and it was on Overpass, which was a standout map in that series, so top frags here again, I would be impressed. Definitely, HAVU will give a bit of a shock to the Endpoint side. This eco isn't too much of a shock at the moment. Zori with 2 good picks on the UMP. SMG's wrapping around the corner, seeing what's out towards that mid control. He will get overwhelmed by the numbers game. Mezzi getting credited with the kill, but charge up for the bomb to try to get planted on the A side. Got Aerial to deal with that towards Long. Hearing those footsteps, so they'll try and deal with him. Inks are particularly decent, but Aerial still gets the kill alongside X7 did it with Thomas and Mezzi in a 1v4.
Just getting backstabbed in, so nice money being farmed up. The city's not really losing a massive amount up against that anti-eco. Great opportunity for the Rifles to come back in, and for Crucial, he's been great with the AWP so far in the tournament. 3rd highest rated player in terms of AWP kills per round, just behind Oscar and Tortsy. So great opportunity for him to kind of show class what he has to offer now in the playoffs.
Now a chance for Endpoint to showcase their efforts in the playoffs themselves. Again, they've not played a match in Pinnacle since the 3rd round of the Swiss system. They've been patiently awaiting their opportunity to strike back here in the quarterfinals. Their first gun round of this playoff stage for the British team. Same with the AKs and the AWPs are standing out towards mid control. They've got an AWP to respond on Zori's part. A little bit heavy investment from him and Slowy to try and get this big green out for them, but so far, no chance to make it work. They're passive again here for Endpoint.
They've been struggling to force this AWP off angle. Finally, all it takes is that molly out to Divider, try and get him back, start regrouping the CTs up towards the A site. And for HAVU, they did try and press a little bit aggressively to look for a bit of an opening fight. But for Endpoint, just that util driving him back, no contact as of yet.
Flash over, Mighty Max getting caught by a counter flash. Mid control wrapping around towards the edge of the smoke. Nades on, damage has been done. Aerial trying to look for T-side contact alongside Zori. Facing him with the AWP down into the bathrooms, but still catching nothing at all here. He'll just continue jumping, continue looking down range, but continuing to see nothing at all. No casualties, barely even tag damage done in the last 40 seconds.
Zori's got to check this left-hand side with the AWP, but does not see it whatsoever. Mighty Max is just selling the fake. The bomb's going B.
One player left towards that B site and Disturbed as well, with SMG to hold off against the 2 players out with Rifles. Aerial faced in upon. Mighty Max gets his double up. Slowy finds the trade, but now seeing nothing at all, and Disturbed quickly does a 180 as he was on rotation from Graffiti. Now seeing the T-side contact out of the T ramp. Solo holding. Slowy gets the position, however. Gets his double up on low HP. Crucial's AWP also detected. Bomb plant will be attempted. Swung upon. Bomb gets dropped. 2 for 1 of the trades. Surreal now stands alone. 6 seconds. Time's up. Endpoint about to concede this. They're just going to hide and stay alive. And Disturbed gets another impossible sequence. HAVU playing Endpoint for falls here.
And what I love in that round is they didn't over-rotate. Something they did up against Ents a couple of times on Overpass yesterday, especially on CT side, which they just over-rotated. That time around, they were a little bit more disciplined. You can see Disturbed is thinking about leaving the site, but he makes sure he holds his ground. Rotations come in really quickly. Mighty Max gets 2 kills at the A site on a lurk, on a fake J, and they still don't convert the round.
It's not a good start for Endpoint. I know it's T-side, but even so, they picked this map for good reason. They should be relatively okay on T-side. Going to start out with the first gun rounds, I would have assumed, maybe even the pistol to get something to some early momentum, but so far none of those things have come true. Looking for a 5-0 for HAVU. It's a half buyout for Endpoint. Surreal. Expecting the boost up from Slowy. He's looking above to that boost spot position over on the left, not towards the default box boost, and his back's turned, allows the kill to come in immediately, kicking things off for the CT side.
It's all about being able to get a confident eco forward, not losing a massive amount on this CT basis, and this could just be a fast play to the A side. They don't have a massive amount of util to work with, unfortunately.
Oh, Zori just catching Thomas as the smoke blooms. Kill forward of it, continues facing. Doesn't see anything of the T side anymore, though. Endpoint has started to back away.
Start regrouping out to B, but for HAVU, they've still got counter utility for them to try and slow down this play, and the footsteps are just being heard.
Wilkins up towards that short position. Nice Molotov to get a big gap in it. So Mezzi timing as well. Now the Eagle wraps the corner. M4 see what's going on. Crucial does land that shot. Count off back by Disturbed. Mezzi still gets his kill into a 3 versus 2 and the bomb can go down. So there's money bonus here for Endpoint at least. What more can they do in the 3v2? Well, not much in case of Mezzi. Mighty Max seeing shoulders, caught off by flashes, dealt with by Aerial. And the retake is quick.
It's a little bit of a poor protocol there for the B-side players. So the incendiary goes down first, and then the smoke follows. And always when that is kind of the sequence, you do have that opportunity that if the smoke does not land perfectly, it's just going to give you a big gap. And the T-side just work with that, and it allows them to open up the bomb side, get the bomb down, get a couple of kills. It is recovered relatively well from HAVU, but it's something for them to kind of consider, okay, we need to be making sure our nades are slightly better.
5-0 for the HAVU start. Things will start to pick up now here for Endpoint. For me, Max lost bonus bomb plant in to get the extra money as well. The full rifle round again inbound for the T side. Damage was done, so in theory there's a way to not reset HAVU, but at least force them back to a bit of a bitter buy. Now into the mid, controlling the defaults again. So passive from HAVU's default set.
Just a couple of shots coming through that monster smoke, hoping to catch off any of the stragglers. But for the most part, it's a bit more emphasis out towards this park control. And for the CTs, it is so damn passive. They're actually stacking up quite heavy on the B side with 4 players. Zori with the AWP is the only one on A, and he's already at the site. There's no one even close to him.
Jump facing with Julie's in hand to get some information. Eventually like a fight that he could probably win with the AWP. Second player is on his way back there. Ariel's just going to get hit. Try and be able to support it in some sort of fashion, but Thomas, the man that strikes first out towards Monster, finds Disturbed, switches out to the knife at the wrong moment on the second player face, so down 11 HP with no secondary kill.
Missed opportunity there for X7 to get the trade back. That could have been a very good chance to trade it into a 4v4. There are a couple of players up towards A. 45 seconds left on the clock. Endpoint are going to start regrouping.
Orb looking into the mid control. Flashes at the ready for Zori and all. Smoke coming down towards the back of the dumpster angle, so Endpoint will try siphon off one of the rotation positions with 30 seconds to go for the split in from long and mid. Zori gets Molotov down, missing his AWP shot. Surreal has been spotted by Aerial, continuing to try and find an angle of the Mighty Max instead. He gets 2 kills back of his own accord though, and it's 2 for 1 now. All left towards Zori. 1 on 4 for the retake. Bomb will go down, and surely he's suppressed out of this round.
Just hold on to the NWP, bring it into the next. Endpoint, what really just helped them there was obviously the man advantage, being able to get that first kill from Thomas out to the B side. And for HAVU, I will give them a fair bit of credit for the gamble stack. They rotate the majority of players up towards the A side. Looks like they're making the right call, but even with that utility, they struggle to find too much damage. They struggle to drop many of those T side players.
Credit where it's due to Endpoint, even though they have been losing a number of these rounds. Mighty Max's A entries have been pretty stellar. Part of the reason why that initial round came down to the wire in previous, and part of the reason why the A side fell apart in this one. Thomas looking for the exit frag on Zori's not going to get to him though. He's not going to face around this corner, so first back to the board of Endpoint, and now a basis to work from here. HAVU should be in for the force up here for round 7, and we will be seeing the M4s coming out, but might see some limitations. I think I can just drop enough rifles. There's a FAMAS involved for X7.
It's still a very good-looking buy. There's no real limitations with the util. You've got a couple of kits in play. The only downgrade is a FAMAS out for X7, and that's it. Endpoint, trying to see if they can stabilize their economy, start building it up a little bit. Zori going aggressive with the AWP. Haven't really seen him doing this all too much.
Very quick involved in this. Julie trying to get out of dodge. He rotates into the bathrooms, and Mighty Max press the issue again on the A default. He has got a bomb on his back, and no real chances for the T side to get it back from him if he goes down. Had to pass that off towards another player, if possible. Utility inbounds. Endpoint just hide behind these smokes, get ready for the first contact kill. It might come the way of Surreal here. He's going to sneak past slowly. There's a slight gap in that smoke, but the CT player doesn't see him. Surreal doesn't see him either, and Surreal wins the duel.
Area looking for a trade back, but it just does not happen at all. The CT's finding no success. Beautiful couple.
Offset into Zori, continuing to look down mid, just missed out this cross of the first man, and Crucial will get the AWP battle 1. So 2 left standing. 1 man to the B site, 1 man towards A, and the A player of X7 will do damage to force Crucial opposition. Counter utility back of the CT player. The second man's going to go ahead and rotate. Endpoint take the B control. The Disturb will try hold off, but a 5 versus 2, and he just can't win a single fight. So left all towards X7 to save, grab that AK, but concede the second to Endpoint.
HAVU have got to be able to find a slightly different way of finding opening man advantages. Crucial's even got a nice angle to be able to deal with X7. No weapons being saved in, because we saw in that first round, the Endpoint won. It was that opening 5-on-4 from Thomas out from Monster. It was then in that last round, the 5-on-3 advantage that Surreal gave. So it is showing that for Endpoint, anytime they found an opening pick, they're pretty much just converting the rounds with ease.
Another good round to the board of the Brits continuing to stack up here on the T-side line. HAVU still have the basis of the lead, however. That's starting to close against them. Not a lot in the buyback here for round 8. Going to have to be the full eco with USPs. Stack their way into connectors. It's amazing they could get caught off guard, but all in all, this should be an easy enough round here for Endpoint.
As long as they're not running into the stack unaware, then this round is just going to be clean up. Mezzi could potentially drop the AK. No one's there to kind of trade off the back of him.
Disturbed. How's the corner with all of his teammates. Gets that 1 kill into Mezzi. Does get caught off. It is a 1-for-1 trade. And Surreal struggles to get the kill out towards this long control. Eventually does find Slowy. The CT's back off. Sorry in particular. Playing behind X7 and finding a line in from that short control. So they'll get back towards that B site. Thomas knows that they've rotated away so they can start storming A. Zori's best bet is to save the AK here, I think.
Yeah, might as well just hold on to what you've got. Try and just throw one of the USPs up towards the side, see if you can continue doing some damage, but hopefully try and hold on to the AK. There is a little bit of alert coming through from Thomas out to the B side. Could catch off one of those players of Zori. Information's been given up. They know where the AK is, and well, it's going to fall now. Thomas just tapping up towards heaven. Nice and easy for Endpoint. They lose the AK, but then it just gets dropped anyway, so they don't really... it's just a throwaway round.
The odds at Pinnacle starting to tip back to the favor of Endpoint. Started around this money line. They were about 1.9 to 1.8 a moment ago, so starting to mount up a decent basis here for their map pick. But obviously, as you mentioned, that one was a throwaway. The rifles are back out for HAVU here for round 9. M4's AWP. Lacking in the defuse kit department. Head Kevlar's going to be fine against the AKs. Limited utility set. Slowly's got no utility at all. There are some limiting factors here for the HAVU side. The economy has been wrecked, and it may continue to be so if they cannot win this round. Nade stacks in, don't actually land towards X7 and Slowly. They just get out of dodge. They're off to the left-hand boost, not towards the sandbags boost.
And they take a little bit of chip damage, but it's not a massive amount. And you're right with the buy status here for HAVU. This is definitely the weakest rifle round investment we've seen from them as of yet. But it could still be one of those that works out in their favor if they can get an early advantage. Again, they're going back to this passiveness. Haven't really seen a lot of aggression out towards the A side. Haven't really seen much long presence coming through from Endpoint either. And outside of Thomas at B, the majority of players are out here in party.
Thomas playing a really great lock roll on this map. A lot of damage on his lonesome to be able to get opening frags and pull rotations way towards that B position. Zori set with the orb, looking down towards Divider, looking around to the mid face, ready for Mighty Max. Great shot, great kill. Surreal. Next up here, flashed out position, caught on the tag damage. Continue burst fire for Aerial, finds Crucial next up to the 5 versus 3 and makes it 2. AK back towards Connector, caught back by Aerial. Each individual duel taken and won. Bomb dropped, and Thomas the Lurker in a 1 versus 5 does catch Disturbed at least, but has so much more to do from here. And with 23 seconds on the clock, it's best to save.
You've got to say to yourself, just stop fighting in that sort of situation, because everyone is just individually peeking, dry peek after dry peek after dry peek. They lose that at first advantage. There's no util, there's no flash, there's no molly, there's no way in which they're trying to make it uncomfortable for either Aerial or for Zori. And for Endpoint, they keep losing players. They keep thinking to themselves, well, let's just keep swinging. We need advantages back. And eventually, they just lose so much in that. Look at the amount of AKs the CTs pick up.
Yeah, plenty of firepower, and as you mentioned, just to stop fighting was the right call to make there for Endpoint in that particular case. Ooh. This is fun. Endpoint.
Oh, everyone knows at this point.
I wasn't sure if it's been like officially announced yet, but Mr. Alan Hender.
He's on trial.
He's on trial
at the moment.
Okay.
So, but yeah, there hasn't been any public announcements. But he's on so many broadcasts with the player cams that for everyone's like, yeah, we know what's going on.
Coaching this side at this moment. Again, I'm trying to keep it a bit on the down low because I've known for a few months at this stage that this was all being facilitated.
Put the clout in, mate. Put the clout in.
Yeah, I got industry connections and what? Nah, Endpoint. Are they benefiting from this change, from this trial? Is there something else they can channel in against the HAVU side? Well, right now it has looked a little bit better, but that last round was very awkward indeed. 6-3. Boosts up for the CT side as, of course, they have got those AKs, as you mentioned. A lot of firepower to deal with against the Endpoint camp, but Endpoint being just as passive as HAVU were on CT.
And without a doubt, from an outside perspective, you're not going to be happy with how that last round panned out from Endpoint. So try and just knuckle down, see if they can make a little bit more of an emphasis out towards the B side. And for HAVU, they are making some really good calls in terms of the stacks here on CT. They've got 3 on B.
Incendiary's timed so well here for HAVU. Information not going to give it up. That flashbang could force the info and the kills anyway. Disturbed only finds 1. 12 HP for Surreal though. He's dead to rights for the next HAVU facer. Flashes inbound, Molotovs standing by. 25 to the clock, and Endpoint are backing away here. Going to go for a different angle of approach. Rotation towards the A side. This is going to be down to the last second here.
Oh, they're really running out of time, aren't they? Crucial's going to just try and sell the fake and be the most that he can, but Zori's just playing deep in bank.
They're lucky that he's back here because he cannot deny the bomb plant at the right second. Got to go for the default plant and nothing else for Surreal. Will there be a wall bang attempted by Zori? He'll see the player crossing from Mighty Max. He'll bait in that shot and there will be no denial on the plant. So 4 versus 4. Molotov's involved. Mighty Max, known entity, back here. Will truck, baits in yet another shot from Zori. Still can't connect it. Still can't see anything here towards the T-side line. Second player also takes his face up. Aerial goes down. Mezzy with that kill. Swings on Zori, who misses a 3rd shot. And now it's all falling apart now for the CT side. Only 1 to fall in Thomas and a brilliant 4 for Endpoint.
They can be lucky that Zori kept missing because, my goodness, how many times they kept facing that AWPer, just trying to reposition on the side, and it just was bait shot after bait shot after bait shot. It was a very, very good rotation in terms of the time. The way in which they probably have the idea that Zori's going to be playing quite passive out on the A site because he is a passive AWPer. He hasn't made any aggressive duels out from the bathrooms in the late round, so they realize that they've still got time to work with. They go onto the A site, they're not even facing any kind of contention.
Now HAVU back down to the pistols once again. Eagles, CZs, USPs. Not even a lot of Kevlar for the most part here for the HAVU camp. Boost up to allow the Eagle to look in towards that short control. Thomas. Try and lean up initially, just press back behind this smoke at the monster control. They will gain some short control here for the CTs, but they can't really do anything with it. Flashes in as Thomas wraps the corner, sees 1 player in the back, looks for the other 2 as well. Caught off with 1 kill on Slowy's part, assisted by the USPs. X7 also getting involved in his own right. Players to fall down here on the T side, but more so on the trades. At least a couple of trades back here for the Deagle. Again, Slowy doing a lot of damage, but not a massive amount. Actually, I say that, and 3 players have fallen now. It's all left to Disturbed. USP in hand. Bomb plant should be secure. The only issue is whether or not they can detect him out towards the short control. Plant in the midst of that smoke. He actually gets the kill for it. 1v1 now. Crucial, however, holds the line and holds the round, but very expensive there for Endpoint.
What is going on there? Again, it's just such a light investment on the eco. HAVU could be really happy with the outcome in that situation because they got away with so much. Endpoint, they've just got to tighten up because, again, we kind of look at this matchup, and even though the head-to-heads have always gone the way of HAVU, this is a weak-looking HAVU in comparison to the last time we saw them play. So in that kind of a sense, for an Endpoint that are, you know, desperate for a deep run, desperate for a tournament victory, Jay, even though they're bringing these rounds back, they really need to tighten up their game on T side.
Yeah, lost out on the initial advantage because of that. And look at this flash forward from Aerial and Zori. They'll get those 2 kills for it. Crucial turns around 1 trade, but they've dropped the bomb. 2 for 1, 3 for 1 on the trade counts for HAVU. And you're 100% on the money there. They have to tighten up this T side because rounds like this are unacceptable.
Well, it comes down to the, I guess, the decision-making of something a little bit further aggressive from HAVU, and it just catches them so flat-footed. They're not ready for that aggressive move. Aerial just pushing out from that long position, gets away with 2. Slowy deals with the com player moving up. Thomas and Crucial got to try and win a 2v4.
Now 1v4 as Crucial stands alone with the AWP. Held out into the short control, trying to wrap over and gain something towards that B site entry, but so far so little gained. Really just got no breathing room at all. So many CTs to find, so many shots he's got to take. Looking away at the wrong moment, and that costs him. Disturbed. Adding another kill to his tally. 13 deep here for the HAVU side. And once again, it's him that's top frag on Overpass.
Yeah, I don't know how it happens. I really don't. But yeah, Disturbed is he's doing well. He's chipping in. He's getting a couple of multi-frag rounds. Tactical timeout coming through from HAVU, even with them up.
And tactical involved for the CT side is, I guess, appropriate to a certain extent. They have let it come and get a bit out of control. It's not been the worst situation in the world because they still got the lead, but they were up at a 5-0 stance a moment ago, and it feels like a very quick turnaround from Endpoint. But as you mentioned before, some issues they've got to tighten up on that T side, so it's exploitable by HAVU. If you think you can exploit your own knowledge of the Counter-Strike circuit, then you can place a place a bet on this match at the Pinnacle Cup, the pinnacle.com/odds, where you can find the latest in-play offerings for HAVU versus Endpoint, and the match coming up a little bit later on. Again, Spirit versus Fiend, set to be a very interesting one here. So again, pinnacle.com/odds is the place to be. Guns out for both sides, no AWPs for HAVU.
Yeah. We actually saw this a fair bit yesterday, though, didn't we? Up against Ents, that Zori actually didn't have the AWP in his hands a massive amount. Yeah, the money's not great, but still, they don't mind rocking just the M4s or the rifles, getting away with that AWP money. Max seeing the booster player, Slowy, how quickly that adjustment comes in.
He checked it as well, didn't think about it, looked away, then realized, oh, hang on, there's a player up there. That's the tightening up that Endpoint need to do. Thomas caught off next by Disturbed, who also forces forward. Crucial can find one response back on area, or at least here towards this long position, but Zori now knows what's about to face him. I think a lot of info was gained there by area on a smoke down with a Molotov. Will just keep Endpoint suppressed.
And they've got rotations. They've pretty much got 2 on A. Can be a third player in really quickly. And for Endpoint, they've just given up so much info, like you mentioned. Just all 3 players out from long. They do actually get a spam kill through the smokes. They get a little bit lucky. They actually turn into a 3-on-3 now.
One back to return. Disturbed being pretty low here on the HP numbers. Endpoint can exploit that, but 40 seconds as of right now. Being very tentative about their face. They have got the advantage, but they're just considering things carefully and running the timer low again.
Zori's making a bit of an info play. He can actually backstab them all along. They've got to get a move on. Oh no, he's going down towards Connector.
No.
At least he'll get information that there's nothing out towards B, but it might be too late.
It'll leave X7 all alone here towards the defense. You'll see the smokes coming up, and here the flashbangs going over. So Zori's on a quick rotation away. Got gap seen there by X7. Sees at least a player crossing. The bomb's going to go down here. Messi finally gets that pick involved and plants towards Bank. Nade up towards default will sail right past him as Surreal deals with Disturbed. It's all left to Zori on long. 1v3 clutch. Looking around to the back of the site out towards the Bank entrance. Messi gets caught, but 2 more players in Bank themselves. Hit in 46 HP, and Crucial has the angle on lock to get the kill in easy and get the 6th round for Endpoint.
And that's probably one of the rounds that's a little bit disappointing for HAVU, or heartbreaking in the sense that they didn't actually do a lot wrong. They had a 4-on-3, they get a spam death, like Zori just, or Slowy just falls to Messi just spamming through that long smoke, hoping to get a little bit of a lucky timing. And just that info play just comes through a little bit too late there from Zori. Try to come back over quickly to the A site, but already just too late to the matter. That resets the economy completely. That allows Endpoint to tie up.
A nice nades from HAVU, at least doing some initial damage here in this round, but this is essentially an upgrade pistol eco. The AK of Thomas can deal with these 2 players on short pretty effectively. We'll get Messi caught off at the very least, so there is 1 kill found, another AK that can hold to the CT favor, but all 3 players out here in Connector, and Thomas has got to escape. He actually ends up going down, so that's 2 for 2, but the A site's open.
They can rotate up relatively quickly, but for Endpoint, if they make just a straight storm into the A site, they'll beat them to it. Smoke going down towards Dumpster, Util up towards A now.
Molotov on APC as well. Up around from Zori. They're going to try and go for this, I think. I thought it would be a good idea to save those 2 AKs for the next gun round, but HAVU looking to try and find a steal. Mighty Max has seen 1. Zori caught out to Connector. Into the bathrooms and towards that mid-control. Crucial does catch slow. Either Mighty Max caught looking the wrong way at the wrong time. So 2v2 once again. Swing back on Crucial. Going to bait in the AWP shot. Flash over Zori. Ariel wins the fight. Now the AWP's all alone. HAVU on for the eco steal. And Crucial pulls out his knife at the wrong moment. Gives HAVU the 8th to win the CT half.
What is with it with HAVU and Ecos? They've won so many Ecos over the course of this event so far. We saw it yesterday. We're seeing it again today. We had, what, that Eco a few rounds ago where it came down to a 1v1 on Disturbed. He lost it. They had just basic USPs, a couple of upgraded deagles here and there. Not a lot going into that round, and they convert.
Tactical for Endpoint. Right time to call it, honestly. I think they cannot be happy with that kind of a round. They cannot be complacent with that. Now's the time to talk it through because it's not looking good for them. What is being said in the Endpoint camp, Dweg?
Well, just make sure that you're keeping the tempo up, that you're not letting some of these rounds get out of your hands. But I trust in the TAC timeout. Do you trust in the TAC timeout, Jay?
I have a limit. I have a certain amount of trust because it is Endpoint at the end of the day, and we know what they can be like. I have about as much trust in this. I do trust Alan though. I trust Alan very heavily, so I trust him about as much as I trust Trustly.
Of
do
course.
not let my playing experience be disrupted by slow payments. You can choose Trustly to make your payments from account to account. No cards, no app download, and no registration. You can actually try it making a payment at pinnacle.com/odds. You can place a bet on this matchup as well, Dweg. So it all blends together. It's like this matchup has for the Endpoint side. 8-6 on for the 7th. Can they make it a decent T-side half? They've got a very awkward force by AKs and Krieg in with 2 Tech 9 set for the BXE.
Just Disturbed, hoping to get a little bit of a stray bullet, a little bit of a lucky shot in. Nade comes close. It's some decent chip damage. They're going to go with this, though.
Oh, 2 nades stack onto Mezzi. He's going to burn away 7 as Disturbed gets the first kill on the B-side. Defense doubling up once again. Molotov's involved for him. Looks for the triple on Mighty Max. He gets it. Continues to spray, but Crucial gets 2 kills to return. Now got to go for a full-blown ace. It's not going to happen. HAVU with a 9-6 to close out their CT side. And Endpoint so touch and go in that first half.
I'm really impressed by the B-anchor of Disturbed. Again, another good multi-frag round for him, getting that early information. Nade placement in terms of that angle from Mezzi just outside of the boost was just so on point, allowing him to play around that pillar position, focusing the entire attention out on Monster. 9-6 half. HAVU, you'd be absolutely chuffed with that one.
Disturbed especially. How does he keep doing it, man? Time after time, triple in this round. Again, the top fragger in server for HAVU. I'm just so impressed. So impressed at how many times he's able to adjust against these players and do damage. 17 kills deep for him. It's not an amazing set of numbers, but that's still higher than the number of rounds we've played so far. And for Endpoint, it's a major thorn of their side. For HAVU, it's another massive performance from their standing coach.
Take another tactical, even going into the second half of the pistol, but for HAVU, they can be very happy with what they've been able to put up. Now we go into T-side, things going to get a little bit more awkward for them. Ooh, the tracker, I like this. So it did seem that for points, Endpoint were bringing it back, but for the most part, HAVU have been the one in control.
I mean, they have been the ones in the lead for the most part. They haven't really lost the lead as far as I've been aware, so it has kind of been like a very HAVU-based game. 24% win percentage, however, from Pinnacle. That is a concerning set of numbers for Endpoint, especially considering that it's Overpass. It's their map.
Yeah, exactly. It does not look good. I will say that much. HAVU, and we know that it seemed that for the majority of the tournament really struggled in pistol rounds. I think they were 4th and 2 in pistols yesterday, or 4 wins, 2 losses. Now going into the game today, they're looking to go 2 for 2.
Smokes in towards that Heaven control, taps forward to the pistols. Wraps in, Disturbed, going to drop down into the cubby corner. No idea that Thomas is there. He still gets away with a kill. Aerial trade back on towards Crucial. Thomas stays alive for a little bit longer than he really should have done there. So it's a 4 versus 3 situation. Nades up, damage done. And bomb plant will be secured here by HAVU, but look at X7 here to the jungle control, and no one from the CT side reads it. Mezzy now got a clutch. The Cloud9 superstar can't seem to frag on anybody anywhere. Desperately hunting for a pick that finds nothing at all. X7 seen there towards wood as Mezzy drops off, but now he's known. There to the CT line. Dealt with easy. And there comes the pistol for HAVU.
X7 not allowing Endpoint to get up to 7. You can see the way in which they overwhelm the side pretty quickly. Thomas just does not get hard checked in that early portion. You think, oh, this is going to be a great chance for him to just start farming up the kills. Instead, it's not the chance at all. And X7, with that molly that comes through the right side graffiti, it actually allows him to push really far forward. And you're just not going to be pre-aiming a spot like that. Very, very difficult to be able to look that direction, especially when you've got so much focus and tunnel vision out to the site itself. But it allows X7 to get in behind them and get HAVU into double digits.
And what a start for the T side, and Endpoint already knocked back on the back foot. Still's involved with the Eagles, the 5-7 of course. The force buy definitively. Minute and 20 into this round, it's slow facing here from the CT forces, being very, very careful about this.
A little bit more of a lean out towards the B side in the early portion. Monster resmoke coming through. A little bit of noise being made out by the T side, just trying to see if they can bait in some over-aggression. Disturb just waiting for a pick to come through out from the short position. But for Endpoint, they are playing into the sites itself. There is an aggressive player out towards the bathrooms for the most part.
Even that's pretty passive, just the bathroom's entrance. Molotov's up, Deagle tap in for Surreal, gets the kill on Disturbed, continuing to look around the corner even further. Now it's out towards Monster where the T's are set to strike. X7 tagged up, UMP of Slowy trying to get onto the site itself. Knows that Thomas is somewhere here at Toxic, but doesn't quite land these shots towards him. The Deagle and Mighty Max continues to draw attention as Thomas can strike, get one kill and two. Tap forward with the third man. Slowy will deal with another frag, but it will not last for long. Mighty Max dealing with the last man. And Endpoint will steal the conversion.
It just comes down to running into the stack and not being able to get the entry frags. We could see the way in which Endpoint are just trying to play in and around the utility, out from both the toxic barrels and from the short position. Just allows time for rotations to come in relatively quickly from the A-side players, and HAVU just, they can't seem to be getting picks. They've got really no chance of getting that bomb down. Double eco status for them again. They're going to have to force.
Incendiary's out. Stopping them from making their moves in for the HAVU side, as you mentioned. Force buy involved with the Eagles again. It's like how Endpoint won that previous round. SMG jump facing, looking for information down to that connected control. Disturbed already up at top con, and the CT should hear it. Wrap the corner towards that man. It is crucial very far in the open. The Mezzy's there on the crossfire, so they hold the exploitable angle. At least one trade comes in from Zori, but 4v2 for Endpoint.
And this round is done, really, for HAVU. They've lost too much in it to recover, and especially knowing that Zori's low, they've got no util to work with. The only way anything is kind of possible is if Endpoint just get a little bit sloppier, they just start getting a bit hungry and offer up 1v1 faces, but they don't need to just commit to any challenges from here. Just play back and deep in the site.
Walk in for Zori. Now towards that mid control, tap in, seeing Surreal again tagging in, but not getting the kills. Nothing really coming forward for the man. X7's really got to be the one to do the work, I feel like, out to this long control. Both players got to find a way to split in. Finally, Zori goes down, so X7 left alone to hold the whole round together.
Running out of time. Player up close towards Divided. Does he look out towards that left-hand side? He does not. Easy pick coming through for Crucial. And now you can see a way in which Endpoint are making a move to set up a bit of a comeback and a bit of a recovery, start pushing forward, allow themselves to get up to 9. They're going to be up against a very basic eco. And especially for Mighty Max and Surreal, a great chance for them to start bolstering up the money line.
Really get the cash together here for the CT side. We saw how much of an issue the economy was for HAVU in their first half on the CT side. Know how bad the CT economy can be at times in the modern day of Counter-Strike. So for Endpoint, getting those two players to get all the kills as necessary is probably the best thing for them right now. It will be a crossfire held by Mezzy, though. Outside the connector, gets himself a 2k and a 3k. Surreal does get one frag in this, but it's only one frag for the SMG. Endpoint do find 9. HAVU will be up for the buy.
And now this is probably where pressure's on for both teams to be able to convert the opening rifle round of the second half. Are we going to see Endpoint continuing their streak, finding a little bit more comfortability, or is HAVU going to chip back in? You've got to remember that they started the first half off with that 5-0 start. They started the second half off with a pistol victory, but have not been able to follow up. So in terms of their scorelines, they've typically done very well from the early engagements of the respected halves. So going into this rifle round will be very important for the Finns to convert.
This is important for Endpoint, though. This could equalize the scoreline and finally take control of their map pick. They've been fighting on the back foot of Overpass for the longest time now. Could be their chance to finally equalize against HAVU and to take the lead off the back of it. So, important round here in round 20. Walk ups here for the T side into that long control. 2 players out of mid and connector. Only 1 man to defend against them all. That's crucial.
Endpoint. I'm just trying to see if they can prod ever so slightly from the back end of the bathroom, see if they can catch one of the T-side sleeping a little bit, just try and catch them off guard outside of the pack. Crucial going to get smoked. That allows him to press a little bit more aggressively to Divider.
Race through the wall bangs. Crucial set to try and look at a gap in the smoke. The smoke will start to clear soon. He pushed up here against the Stubbed. And he's caught him first. Great start for Endpoint, and rotations away now, focusing on that long control. They've cleared out mid for the most part. There was the second player on his way in from Con. Might be a bit of a concern as Mighty Max holds that Eagle into the back lines. Better be ready to land some heads. He gets a tag off an aerial first and foremost. As he sets it up a couple of picks of his own right, lines him up, knocks him down, drops the bomb, swings back for the triple. And Zori, we all find 1 frag, but dealt with by Thomas to close out the round. At Endpoint finding confidence here with their 10th.
And that was much better for Endpoint. That was a classy sort of round from them. The way in which they get Crucial very aggressive to play in behind that smoker divider, catch off Disturbed. Even decent counter utility comes throughout towards that long position, just slows that whole round down. And just the off angle out for Mezzy. Gets a couple of kills, picks back around in towards the bathroom's entrance. Able to follow up with a 3K. And just an individual play for the first time. Feels like Mezzy's comfortable because he's normally the star of this team. Has a lot of impact, but so far hasn't been able to find much. Maybe this is the start for him in that last round.
And it's the start for Endpoint in general. They've had their moments, but now they genuinely look like a confident team. HAVU forced to take a tactical timeout because this is where things can really fall apart. Imagine the odds might be falling apart over at Pinnacle. Of course, you can check those out by heading to pinnacle.com/odds. Find your playing offerings for this particular match, and there's a variety of other markets. As well as that, Dwayne, did you know that Pinnacle is running a promotion? They're doing a €10 bet, and you get €10 on top of that. So,
jeez, look at that.
Money. Plenty of it.
Yeah.
All for free. So, take advantage. Again, pinnacle.com/odds. Let's bet on this match. And the final quarterfinal we'll have a little bit later on today. I remind you about that as well. Spirit's taking on Fiend. And our final best of 3 after this one is over. So, stick around for that one. HAVU might not be sticking around here for round 21. They got pistols, and that's it.
Crucial, very aggressive. Got a bit of a crossfire being set with his teammate out from the divided position alone. Does drop the 8K, so that can get recovered.
Again, 1 good frag to turn it into a bit of a play-in for the likes of the T-side line. Generally, not a great sort of setup for HAVU, though. 2 players without Kevlar. The 1 player that does have Kevlar is low HP, so this AK is going to fall so quickly on his part. Got to play the bait game. Disturb going to be hurt by aim punch, but he has been consistently the highest fragger for HAVU in this map so far. And Surreal checking out the left and right-hand sides into the mid and long positions. Focus mostly on the mid control because Mezzy does have long on lock and X7 does full 4-8. So now 2 players left here for HAVU. The AK revealing his position. Should be able to adjust.
Zori just waiting for the over-aggression, and the cities just aren't really giving it. Even out from long, Mezzy just trying to create a little bit of an angle for him to work with. They are close towards the side, but they're going to have to get some really quick entries because now a 3rd player is rotated up to A.
Gonna wait and leave Thomas as the main man over towards this B-site play, but as they find Surreal, they'll know now that it's got to be the A position. 17 seconds and still showing T, still showing for kills out towards mid. It can't be a B play from here now. Nade coming at the right timing here for Mighty Max will do a ton of damage to those 2 individuals. Disturb crossfired in by Mezzy, gets his kill. Doesn't quite find Zori. Mighty Max there for the trade. Damage has been done to the CT side, so there are things to be happy about there for HAVU, but they have lost the lead at 11-10.
You can't expect to win that last round, though. So 3 kills, they don't get a bomb plant. That's probably the only disappointment in that last one. But yeah, they do a lot of economical damage. There isn't really an instant reset potential, considering money does look pretty built up here by the City side. But if you can convert a couple of rounds in a row, especially with the single round loss bonus up for Endpoint, there could be some chopping being done. HAVU, though, they've just got to break the streak. They've got to be able to put pressure back on, because for Endpoint, they can just continue running with this.
Fantastic Nadori down X7. Again, Endpoint doing decent damage with these HEs. Nothing definitive. No kills as of right now. It's all very passive from HAVU.
Yeah, Crucial just waiting for a flash, waiting for a run boost, and well, they are going to jump over. It wasn't quite the run boost, but both AWPers can't find a connection.
Utility and Molotov's flashes. T-side players looking up into that long control. But Crucial caught looking the wrong way. Arrow just caught in his blind spot instead. Kill to start off as the AWP drops.
Just an aggressive move that we haven't really seen from Crucial, and just no support at all. Yeah, you got another player in the bathrooms, but they don't swing on each other's contacts, so it just allows a 5-on-4 to be regained. CT's just find nothing back from that, and even a bit of a rotation back up towards the A side. Thomas is going to be left on B alone again.
Even then, he's on a rotation towards the A side, so there might be gamble stacking here. Depends on where he goes. Does he rotate to the left and go to heaven? No, he goes to dumpster, so they're going to just go full send into the A site. Not a good outlook here for Endpoint. I guess that the money's still okay, but not amazing. So if they're going to lose that B side play, they might not even bother for a retake. I say that, and they still get players out towards heaven. The smokes are down, and Mezzi does catch one player lurking into the mid control. So back to a 4 versus 4. There are kits in for this retake.
It probably has to be a save from here, though. Without that util, yeah, you're not going to lose a massive amount with the economy, but no one's really in rotating positions.
Run away from great flash in. Mighty Max taps forward. Aerial gets a kill back in Vault. Thomas descends from heaven, but Disturb gets a trade in against the man. Unable to get the second player as Surreal Twist all left to Slowy. Sees the headshot, gets the pick back one-on-one against Mezzi. Swing back from Slowy at the ready, but he's got no util. Neither does Mezzi. He's going to stick the defuse. Hope that he doesn't peek, and ultimately that is the wrong call. Couldn't adjust to the kill to return, and it's 11 apiece.
I just don't like that call. I'm going to criticize Endpoint there. Why are you gamble stacking in a 4v5? The only time we see a gamble stack is when money's ruined, right? When we know there is no money in the reserve, you've got to make a big risk. In that whole situation, I think the risk was so minimal. They leave the B side completely opened up. They do a decent job in terms of the trades to just try and get them into the site itself, but just Thomas moving away from the bomb site, it wasn't necessary.
Yeah, that really cost them because it was back to square one when they had to go for that retake as opposed to at least Thomas getting a kill. Like if he was able to get a frag back alongside the frag from Mezzi in mid, then at least it would have been a 3v3. Falling apart here for Endpoint again. Some very awkward calls coming out, and we're starting to see the characteristics of why this team have not really made as many deep runs as they should have done. Here in Pinnacle having a couple of days off, but X7 makes another mistake of his own kind. A bit too far forward at the tiniest amount of divider. Now's Mezzi to open up the round.
And just a nice angle being held just to gather some information. It's now going to drive HAVU for a walkout from the monster position. Thomas is up close at monster wall.
Third walking in. First man out. M4 set to round the corner. Flashbang turned away from Disturb. Still gets the kill in. Down at 8 points of health. No nade to his position. Surreal still up here towards water. Gets the first frag. No transfer towards the aerial. Looks back to the site himself. 3 versus 3 with the bomb that can go down. Retake on again for Endpoint. And now HAVU get the advantage.
They've got to back off. They've got to save. They've got no money in this 2v3.
You say that, and Max is going to swing in to get a kill. Zori takes 15 points of health as well. Incendiary to try to get him out of dodge. If he lands even a tick on that, he's going to be so low. Now swing back slowly. Comes in as support. Orb shots missing out. Zori's one does connect. And indeed, Endpoint do fall apart on the retake. Good effort, but just not to be.
Yeah, I guess for them, they kind of realized themselves, even if we save a couple of rifles, we don't really have the potential of forcing around it. So we'll go in for it. We'll make the risk. If it doesn't pay off, we'll just eco. We'll give them an extra one. Not really too much else that we could have done in that 3v3. I mean, even with the 3 players, they could have just saved and could have forced, but it's a matter of opinion. Endpoint decides to try and go in for it. HAVU, these last couple of post plants have been really impressive. The way they peek off one another.
Now Endpoint down to the basics on the pistols. Endpoint got to take round 24 on the chin. Stacking towards this B site, as you mentioned before, the only time to do so is when money's wrecked, and well, the money and the weapon setup is completely wrecked. Nothing that Endpoint should really have to show for in this round. They've got a couple of upgrade pistols on Surreal and Thomas, but really, you're looking at HAVU claiming a simple 13th.
Now, something to think about here, Jay, is that any time HAVU have won against an opposition's map pick in Pinnacle Cup, they've won the series, and it's just been 2-0. So it's something to kind of consider, the potential of the win actually coming here from HAVU on map 1.
Much like yesterday, this whole series could be won and lost here on Overpass. I don't see Endpoint winning Dust 2, so kind of important they get their act together coming into the next gun round. Disturb with a pick on towards Surreal, Disturb following up on towards Crucial as well. The Mac 10 getting lots of money out for this. Continuing to hunt in against the CT side. He's 22 deep in this matchup, looking for 24 if possible. But Endpoint not going to give up much here, hoping to try and catch a player off guard. Disturb drops in, does lose his life, but again, concedes a Mac 10 to the CT side. That's not anything to sweat here for HAVU.
Money Max is just probably going to fake that he's got to get out towards the side, try and hold any of the stragglers, try and pull the attention forward, but not going to be able to find much, just drops down to that bomb, doesn't even get a contact. Thomas gets a back 10, he goes, yep, don't want that, I'm just going to go and buy myself a rifle in the next round.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. And the Pinnacle odds start to favour HAVU one more time here. This is where it was when they were up by 5-0. Can they maintain that going into 16-11 or thereabouts? Well, guns out for Endpoint, and if they can't get this round, you're pretty much guaranteeing at least a map point for HAVU here.
Now, Endpoint need to be able to strike back, and without an AWP, without a kit in play, you've got to wonder how are they going to give themselves an advantage in a rifle round where there are limitations. Slowy taking a little bit of spam in towards the Condor, and for HAVU, they're actually tagging up Surreal even more.
2 tags on Zori and Arrow to 74 and 73, and Surreal's down at 2 HP on the interim, so the nades, the spams, they've all worked wonders for the T side, and this HE from Slowy is not going to be placed right to deal with the player. X7 takes some damage in return, but again, it's a far cry compared to the damage they've done, and finally Slowy lands the wall bank to catch the one bullet he needs to Surreal, kicking off this round for HAVU.
And that's always the risk, isn't it? When you get naded and spammed as hard as you do, you just reposition on the side, and all it's going to take is one bullet, just through a wall bang, wherever it is, you're going to fall. Not the start that Endpoint were looking for at all, but even for HAVU, it's a little bit more of a fake out towards the B side. The bomb's thinking about regrouping out from T-Con, try and regroup up towards his fountain position. Endpoint really deep.
Endpoint having some troubles in finding a trade back here. X7 giving away a lot of information, sending up a smoke towards Dumpster. Crucial, he's trying to press forward here in the midst of this smoke at Divider. Turned away from those flashes, still peeks forward, still gets dealt with. Disturbed, another kill for him. 5 on 3, X7 still being particularly low. Mezzi, try hold up against the trade on the man, he will be able to do so. Second player rounds the corner, and Slowy also falls. Missouri there with a response. Mighty Max gets into a 2 versus 2, and again, 2 picks for the man. Aerial left alone, facing in from long, and Mighty Max gets a mighty 3K for a 12th at last for Endpoint.
And they needed someone to make a play because they'd lost so much in that. That was a 5 on 3 advantage up for the T side. Mezzi just holds his ground, gets away with a couple of kills, and he's just trying to stay alive. He's just wasting as much time as humanly possible. Mighty Max on rotation, though. What a play that was for him.
Indeed it was. Big, big stuff for the IGL. And Endpoint. They're back in this game at this stage. Can they maintain control of this? Both economies heavy investing into this round. Nade stack the Surreal will not take much of in this particular case, so a great time here for the likes of HAVU. At least he can start jump facing with comfort, knowing that they're probably not going to put any more HEs to that position. But again, a very important round for Endpoint to win. Same for HAVU, because they're still on from that point if they can take this.
And they can reset one another, can't they? There's just no money in the reserve for either team here. So the conversion of round 26 is just going to start swaying. Who's going to get the advantage? I like the aggressive approach out from Mezzi towards the back end of Long, just trying to make a bit of an info play eventually. And for the most part of HAVU, it's been quite silent. They don't have a massive amount of util to work with.
Flash their way into the mid control for HAVU. See some of that util.
Oh, here it is.
Mezzi pushes on, gets dealt with by Aerial. Great opening frag for HAVU now. Endpoint forced to scramble rotations, get a second player back here to join Crucial, because he's the only defender here of the A site.
You go back and you just watch the POV for Aerial in that round. He is watching Long for so much time, waiting for that play to come to him, wins out the fight, and Crucial, he's going to get so overwhelmed, isn't he?
Imagine so. Sneak in. Oh, missing his shot. Need to land that one secondary. Face on a flick. Will catch it to a 4 versus 4. But X7 can overwhelm him. And where's the backup? It's still not there. Mighty Max just coming into lower bank. M4 in hand, but the bomb plant that has to be conceded. Endpoint with a very awkward economy game. Still going to go in for this retake, and they will fall apart for it. Zori gets his pick involved, and Thomas and Surreal. Now they've got to save.
They kind of need to go for it, though, Jay. There is no loss bonus. They're not going to be able to have a buy in the next round. Surreal's going for it, but then Thomas isn't.
I think he's looking for the M4. He just wants the M4 here. Try and run away with that. Get it away, get it out of dodge. Seed 14 for HAVU, but again, as you mentioned, no loss bonus, no economy, fail safe, no nothing for Endpoint. This is worst case scenario for the Brits. HAVU knocking on the doors of map point.
They might have to force. I look at the situation and think 2,400 loss bonus. You're not going to get an AWP out for Crucial in the next round. So do you just go to yourself, well, we've got a couple of M4s. Let's just buy it up. Let's not play for OT. The money is just so horrendous.
Hoping for a tactical pause before we got there for the Endpoint side, just because of the nature of what they have to lose here. Awkward monster smoke coming into the CT side. A bit of a gap that they can work with to that right-hand side of the smoke itself. A nade stack on Surreal. Decimated on the start. Him and Mighty Max fallen to pieces to kick off this round.
And viewers kind of look at this round, Jay, and think, it's just an eco. It doesn't really matter. When you've got a round as important as this, for HAVU to get up to 15, there's 2 M4s, there's two Kevlar players in play, and without even a contact, you just go for a nade stack, and it deals with one of those M4s. It means that Crucial has now got a glass cannon the rifle.
And rotate to the A side, because B is a lost. Molotovs and smokes down. Save the M4. It's the best bet for them here, Endpoint. Need every little thing they can get, because HAVU will be on map point, on Endpoint's map pick. And I'm starting to think that I'm the curse here, Dwayne, because whenever I watch Endpoint, like, you know, I see them being a very powerful team, then when I get to cast them, just fall apart for some reason. Again, Overpass picked by them. Rightfully so, because HAVU have no basis on this map. They got that one win yesterday, but I thought that would be a one-off. 2 for 2 in the last 2 days. Like, that would be disastrous here for the Brits.
I don't know, mate. I don't think it's a curse. I get the same feeling when I watch them and when I cast them. It's just that for Endpoint, there's so many of these tournaments where they're making playoff runs, but they're just going out so damn early. And for them to get the opportunity of going 3-0 in main Swiss, going, oh, hang on a minute, we actually get invited straight towards the quarterfinals. We don't even have to play the brawls of the round of 12. We could just go up against HAVU. Yeah, we haven't done that well against them in the past, but they're looking a bit shaky. Easy win. No, it's not as easy as that. And for HAVU, they have got a perfect opportunity of closing here, taking Overpass, and going into the dust too, with the biggest smiles on their faces.
I have a feeling Endpoint win and lose this series on this next round here. Smokes up to suppress on the initial phase for Aerial out of the gates into the park angle. It's nade stack again for HAVU, this time evaded by Surreal. Takes 2 points of damage from it. Counter nades back at the CT side will dish out a lot more towards them down Monster. So great response this time from EP.
And that was some very good nade placement coming through for Endpoint, just stacking up nades towards that monster position, even getting a re-smoke down. But for Endpoint, they need a pick. They need a man advantage, and they are stacking up over towards the B side, having a very, very heavy read at B.
One player starting to break away here in Mighty Max. And a dodge move up towards the A site. Sturb starts walking in with his AK. What was that short position? Trying to find a workable angle here for HAVU. The bomb's yet to commit. It's not on the back of anybody. Still got those 2 players out towards the underpass and mid controls. Now towards long for the likes of Aerial, but it's Slowly that falls out towards Monster. Great kill from Thomas to start.
Just creating a little bit of space out from Monster, going for a bit of a lurk play. Surreal just gets picked off though, but disturbed, and the advantage just gets lost so quickly.
Bound fast, 4 versus 4 in the third, continuing to play this fantastic series from him so far. X7 set with the utility past Divider. Crucial's going to hear it. Molotov in towards the position, and he baits out Crucial for it. 4-on-3 scenario, 20 seconds for the hit. HAVU got to overwhelm Mezzi. If Aerial gets this kill, it's going to be round done, but it's just a kill found towards Mezzi's part. Now the CT's holding on towards the B play. They've got Thomas here alone. 1 player back at Graffiti. Mighty Max there. Thomas gets his kill involved. 8 seconds. Zori can't make his way out of Monster. The Molotov will burn him away even further. Tags up damage, and the kills come back for Mighty Max to hold it together for Endpoint just by the skin of his teeth.
HAVU really tried to scramble them there, and for Endpoint, they just weren't getting faked. You've got an advantage in terms of the numbers up. You've got a 4-on-3, and the B players they don't rotate away. Really, really good discipline coming through for both Mighty Max and for Thomas to stay at that B site with the time being also low. HAVU were just expected to run into an open bomb site at that point.
Endpoint barely hanging on to it. Had the kill come in the back of the A site, that could have been enough, I feel. Not to be in this one. They have to play on for another good round. Of course, buys are still involved here for HAVU. Still got a bit of cash in reserve. That cash will dry up somewhat going into round 30. So, again, a lot to play for here as we go into the final couple of rounds of regulation.
Yeah, HAVU, at least for them, they've got money behind themselves. So in terms of pressure, they've got a couple of rounds to be able to convert before it does get in towards OT. They just missed the timing of the AWP looking back out to that long position. They don't catch him repositioning.
Don't go for a second jump face either, because that would have cost them. Great start for the AWP of Crucial to deal with the first man, HAVU. Set and ready to hold into the mid control. 4 players out here. Taps forward to Max, hoping to get some dinks off, but so far, doing so little.
A nice little divider smoke going down from Mezzi. That actually allows him to press even further aggressive. Time is running low here for HAVU.
He's involved. Incendiary down for Crucial. Keeping away with the smokes back. Crucial trying to get out of dodge. Did bait in that first AWP shot out towards mid control. Now having information of what's going on. Mezzi wins that first fight and that second. Continues facing aggressive here. 17 seconds left of the clock. Zori knows that he's probably somewhere close here at the bathrooms, but still Mezzi gets to pick on him. Triple up to drop the bomb. Face round the corner. X7 gets 1 good trade as Slurry responds, but now he's all alone. AWP picked up and Surreal will deal with the last. Drop the bomb for the final time in this round and claim 14 for Endpoints.
Jeez, Mezzi is really putting on a show in this second half. Up to 30 kills, so many multi-frags up on that A site itself. And in that round there, just so much time wasting, dropping that bomb, making that clock just run lower and lower and lower. And it just came down to the final rotations. Alpha Connector itself, what a hold from Mezzi.
Coming up brilliant when his team need him the most here, Dweg. Again, imperative that they win this round and win this map. So, final tactical called in by HAVU. 4 out of 4 used here. Do they have enough to get us to the 16-14 win?
Yeah, HAVU just close. Just get it over and done with. Last thing we want to do is try and fight back from OT. And you can even see on some of the cams that Disturbed is trying to help out in a little bit of the cooling. That's probably something that we can expect. Yeah, we know the in-game leader of Slowy, but when you've got a coach sort of standing in, get him a little bit more vocal. Get him to be sort of that second voice and use his skill set and his capabilities to the best advantage, especially when it comes to some of these tactical pauses.
Smokes intercept the defaults up for Aerial's part. Him and X7. 2 AKs in their hands, pressing up into net to control. Mezzi gets both the kills, because of course he does. Removes 2 rifles from play for HAVU. Picks up one of his own and holds back for Slowy next up. I have a feeling that overtime's calling.
That's looking likely. Disturbed getting caught off out for the short position from Mighty Max, and everything is just falling apart. Mezzi does eventually get traded, but Slowy falls instantly. Zori's now going to try and clutch a 1v4.
Yeah, Deagle in hand. Pressure on him to hold it together, but at least they have the full back of the OT. Few more opportunities available to them where the economy becomes now a non-factor for the Finns. They'll try his hand at it though. Crucial, could get caught. Missing his window. Just closed on him. Again, the bomb's still here in connected control, so even if he gets this pick back on Crucial, he's got to fight back against the main CT force anyway.
And they're just going round one another. And Crucial looks back into bathrooms. He's going to hear these footsteps, know exactly where Zori is. And still the fight has not come through. Finds the lucky timing and gets Endpoint up to 15-15. Mezzi, without him, without their performances from him in particular in those last full of rounds, it wasn't going to go to OT. He was the difference maker.
It's a big OT for HAVU to have at this stage, considering, again, this is their opponent's map pick. Endpoint, on paper, should be able to take this, but not the case. Alan does not look impressed. I mean, personally, I wouldn't be, given how awkward this one has been so far here for the Endpoint camp. MR3 16k, is no economical issues back now for either side. HAVU start things off on the T side half. Early contact peeks in from Endpoint, but they fall back to passive.
Thomas out for this grill position, going to get flashed off early, but no peek comes through that smoke for HAVU. No real aggression starts off. They're having a little bit of a walkout from long. And just at the radar, you can have a look at the decision of the positions for Endpoint. No one is watching long.
Sat ready and waiting for the T's to press forward further. First contact to keep giving up here by the HAVU camp, but so far so little. Just Disturbed being that aggressive man out of monster, and even he doesn't force forward.
The CTs are waiting for a bit of a bait play, waiting for just a single walk and a great chance of finding an early advantage. But for HAVU, now starting to put a little bit more emphasis outside of the bathroom position. Someone's going to have to go back and get that bomb, and Zori actually opens up in the orb duel.
Start out trying to find a second man towards that mid control, but so far so little gained. And we're going to get picked up as X7 joins his teammate. Still going to leave it all on Mezzi to the back. He's baited in the orb shot now. But still 3 players over to the B plate. This is the right call, because that bomb's on its way towards the B side. This is all a ruse.
How do the CT start rotating, though? Do they get faked off again? They've been really good at holding their ground.
And Surreal with a pick on Thomas. Back turn towards short as a teammate behind him to cover off the connected entrance. Mighty Max does end up falling, but Thomas still holds the line for now. Still the CTs get overwhelmed. And Mezzi now left with a clutch to hold here. He's got Aerial up on the A site. He knows that he's there. The moment he gives up angle, someone's going to adjust for it. HAVU, how do they win out that B site?
Well, again, the CTs, they just don't move. They're not getting faked. They're not getting over-rotated. And HAVU go, oh, this isn't good. There's a lot of players out on the B side, but X7 has a great couple of kills on the entry. Zori is getting involved with the orb, but even hits that finale. Jeez, I tell ya, that one round was probably one of the best rounds I've seen from Zori this whole map.
Especially when you consider that yesterday he was lagging behind on Overpass. Definitely a turnaround compared to his performances thus far. Second top of the board here for HAVU. Third top of the board overall in server. Endpoint really being dragged out of this so far. And they just need that little bit more. They need that little bit extra confidence to get all players to really keep it together. Because right now they're falling apart and HAVU have another lead here. Can Crucial find the opening pick towards short? I don't think he can.
It just seems like they're always fighting for the back foot, aren't they? Trying to claw back to OT. Now HAVU winning the first round of when we actually get to overtime. A bit of an aggressive play out from the long presence. Moneymax is here from the long position itself, but Boo's going to come up with the AWPer. Another great opening kill out for Zori again.
Just time after time, he finds somehow some sort of way to be able to find the opening. Just lands it every single time. At least Mezzi's there for a trade out of mid, but again, he's a solo holder of the A side. Backup is there from the back of the site itself, where Thomas comes up with his 2 kills. Line up on Aero on X7. And it seems like Endpoint might catch a lucky break here. Zori and Disturb, last couple of players involved for HAVU. Mezzi going to get close towards 1 and win out his double. All left to Zori. Does find that 1 frag on Crucial at least, but 24 HP to get the rest of them. And Endpoint will equalize.
Well, HAVU, they had the opening man advantage. They knew where Mezzi was. They saw him retreating back out to the divider, but they were kind of a bit more tunnel visioned to try to get that trade back that no one is watching out for the truck angle, and that's where Thomas strikes.
Perfect lineup at the perfect timing. Despite the heavy aggression that Mezzi had, his teammates were still there to bail him out somehow. 16 apiece. Again, Endpoint hunting for the equalization, now hunting for the lead again against HAVU. As you mentioned before, they're fighting from a back foot constantly. Every single time, and Mezzi will get a front foot here in this round. Another opening frag out of Connector.
Mezzi's just been great in this map so far. I even want to say from the second half onwards, it was a little bit quiet in the first, but he started really coming alive on CT, taking a bit of damage, but his teammates are just there to aggress out from short water, make sure that he's got the safety of getting back in and that they don't get traded.
Opening a Crucial, looking around into the Arthur in his position, going to continue facing in against Zori next up, but these 2 players make their way out towards the outside angles on the short control. And actually, this could be information gained by Crucial. He's seen that bomb, so he's going to cross in towards it, and that's another good kill for Endpoint. 5 versus 3. Air with the response. Mighty Max dealt with, but still has Mezzi into the back corner. It's going to be over at Dumpster, who's actually going to fake face up towards it, and Aerial still gets the kill. Crucial responds back to a 3 versus 2. Disturbed has the bomb on his back here, now got to hold it all together.
And the NWP is so out of the sight, so this allows a decent chance of the bomb getting planted, but oh, they peek out towards a long position. Aerial looking for the trade back, it just doesn't happen. Endpoint get the lead going into the second half of the first overtime, and that whole round just seemed like it was so back and forth. Crucial with 3 kills with the AWP.
Big stuff at point blank there in the bathrooms, and again, turning around towards that long control that ultimately won them the round. Too much dilly-daddling going on there for HAVU on that A site. Don't know why they didn't just focus on getting the bomb down itself. Either way, great entries and great AWP positioning here from Endpoint. Get the advantage at the half for, I think, the 2nd time so far in this map up. They've had only 2 advantages above HAVU. Being one of them now going into the T side. Are they going to have as awkward a time here in overtime, or is their victory about for the Brits?
Well, for Endpoint, this is a very good position to be in, to just start driving that confidence forward. Just be able to come back from 12-15 down and actually get a win on your map pick. Set yourself up for the series. I see that AWP from Thomas just looking for something. Owns up going back over to the AK. Zori aggressive.
And again, that flick shot up there towards the mid-control. M4 in for Aerial. Gets 1 frag. Mighty Max is there for the trade back, but does lose his teammates to a 4 versus 4. So, starts out for HAVU. Endpoint at least keeping this close. So far, so little gain. That bomb's going to go ahead and regress back on the rotations. Thomas going to get called for a tag up. Slowy, very far forward on this. HAVU. Oh, might have inserted a very cheeky position to the CT side, and Thomas gets caught for it. Can he catch Crucial as well? He can, but burst fire misses out the actual kill shot itself. Same thing on Mezzi in the back lines as Disturb gets caught. Slowy finally gets that pick back, and Crucial can return to a 2-on-2.
That's a decent recovery there for Endpoint. That was a great sneak play coming through for Slowy to get a couple of kills. X7's rotated off to B, but he's still a little bit slow. He thinks that maybe B's already been taken.
Little does he know, 30 seconds, and the T-side players are only now starting to walk into the entryways, and X7's just going to wait back here. Zori's going to cover off the rotations out of bathrooms just in case, but again, Endpoint focusing entirely on this B side. They'll walk into it, checking all their corners, looking over towards Toxic in particular, and now the AWP will start facing. Flashed off position though, bomb can go down.
Yeah, he would have been seen there. Mighty Max looking for the aggressive dual way WP. Needs a flick, and X7 hits it!
And he lands the wall bang on Crucial as well. Not a massive amount of damage being done. Now that there's one AWPer out there, the short presence the other position, and Crucial can't land a flick of his own right. Will finally face in towards X7. Get it to a 1 versus 1. AWP v AWP, and Crucial lands the flick for his 3K to get Endpoint on map points.
Oh my goodness, that whole round had so much to it. What a flick coming through from X7 onto Mighty Max, and then the recovery, the clutch play, the 1v2 out for Crucial. When it matters the most, they get up to 18 now.
Wow. What a whole Crucial struggle throughout the entire course, that 1v2, but it was that adjustment shot there that turned it in against Zori and turned us up to now the advantage for Endpoint to finally take their map pick. What has been a hard ask and a laboured effort thus far for the Brits. 2-round buffer for HAVU, at least they can bring this back, but even so, HAVU on the back foot regardless. M4 swing for Aero, trying to take a front foot here on these 2 kills, only gets the 1 trade.
And they're just so ready for that, because as soon as he gets the pick, he wants more. He wants more out of the situation, and for Zori, there's just no real way that he can back up his teammate. He is getting a little bit of information in terms of the util out towards the top of connector, but he's got to wait for the rotation for another A player.
Wait and fall back. And a dodge here with utility. And they're ready here for the defensive line. Mighty Max still taking face. His A entries were fantastic in the early game. Can they be fantastic here for the A here? 50 seconds to make the decision. Endpoint still have options.
Yeah, HAVU have just got no info. No one's been able to make an aggressive play. The NWP out from long could be able to strike, misses the chance slowly.
Go down instead. Call off by Mighty Max. Kill found. Zori messing around the mid control. Crucial still peeks on him. Gets the perfect kill at the perfect moment. And now disturb the next 7 here for the 2v4 retake. They'll put the incendiary and nade up towards Thomas. But he gets that bomb plant taking minimal damage.
What a recovery this has been for Endpoint. Couple more kills, they'll be able to take their map pick. The NWP has been seen and he's getting spammed up.
I look for that pick on Disturb, but now being worn down by the AK sprays on the firing squad of Endpoint. The AWPer faced in, now got to go falling. Disturbed on 2 points of health. And as great as he was in this map, this might be a bridge too far. He'll try it, but ultimately, it's all in vain. 19-16 at last for Endpoint. A couple of consolation smiles on their faces, but that was still an overtime effort to get their own map pick past the finish line. It will be Dust 2, HAVU's map pick after the break. Well, it was an effort and a half to get Endpoint in with the first map of their series. Their pick of Overpass was almost won by HAVU, a single round from them doing so. But Endpoint hold control going into Dust 2, but whether that will remain that way is yet to be seen. Pistol round going live very quickly with HAVU on the CT start. They won this yesterday against the likes of Ents. Can they do the same here against the Brits, Tweg?
We're seeing this early contact out from Longhouse just being a fairly bait play for Endpoint, just trying to allow those players to get up towards that short position. Aerial capitalizes and then instantly just rotates to look into short.
You're facing here is Thomas. Lead that charge in with a short execution. Smokes down towards the CT spawn. Will drive one man away. Aerial still watching as two players dive down past the CT presence. Slowy going to get caught off. Aerial does get traded back on that first kill. Back Slowy eventually dealt with by Mezzi. The bomb plant can be secured. But Mezzi, no idea who to play out towards Pit. Sorry, doing tag damage. Eventually finds the kill on the man to a 3-on-2 man advantage for HAVU.
That's a difficult post plant here for the T side. They're going to try and get quite aggressive up towards short by the looks of it.
Leaning up here with the USPs. Glock's tapping for Crucial. Trying to bait in Disturbed. They'll get him to get killed off. We'll do a little bit of damage. A goosh down. And damage done to both players now as X7 cleans up Mighty Max. It's all left to Crucial. 1v3. Gets that first pick. Low HP on Zori as well. The next player to face, but doesn't quite get the picks against the man. Zori will deal with the player. And the defuse will come through.
Endpoint could buy it up here. You got away with 3 kills and a bomb plant in the pistol. HAVU just being able to get that defused forward. And it really just came down to that start, the way in which Aerial was able to find that first pick out from the longhouse position, rotate back in towards car, and just have numbers just in the advantage, even in that retake there to 3-on-2.
A big way in for them, of course, to get started on the CT side. Endpoint. Rest on a force buy across to that bomb plant bonus and a pretty decent pistol. It's taken by them, but ultimately not enough to get the pistol itself, so it's just this force invest. Coming forward with the Galils, the Tech 9, the Eagle, the Scout in for Crucial. And HAVU. Our own buyback here will feature only one M4.
Yeah, HAVU, they're up against a very decent buy here for the T side, so it's going to be coming down to the early information. Slowy, even just on that jump peak, to just gather at least a decent amount of map presence out from the longhouse has been challenged early on.
Just one player per team, however, looking down the longhouse angle, and Slowy running from close range, suppression by smoke. There will be a few more players that finally join them here on the Endpoint side. Being tentative about this, though. Slowy's first bet is to get the kill, try and fall back, bait them in towards Zori's position, who's now going to be the second man on the defensive here for the CT side.
This crossfire could be everything. It all comes down to the distraction.
Flash is over with that counter smoke, forces Endpoint to fall away, so back to the short commitment, it seems. Surreal's already up there. No one else from HAVU going to take face.
And they're running out of utility now. It really looked like they were going to just aggress out from longhouse, but now they seem to be a little bit indecisive here on T side.
I don't really know what to do. Time running so low like it did so many times over on the first map for Endpoint. Someone's got to pick up that bomb and commit it to the B side, which is where the hit's going to come through from. Disturbed, seen there with a Famar, still gets a kill in on the first man. Crucial tagged up heavy as Aerial does get overwhelmed. Disturbed still can double up, triple up. Can't quite quadra up on this one. Thomas gets his trades involved, but him and Crucial, 15 seconds to counter-rotate back into the A site, and Zori's adjusted for that as well. M4 at the ready here towards the A site. I don't even think they're going to have time to get a bomb down here, especially as the bomb will fall, and Zori gets both of the picks. Nice and easy. HAVU with a second.
And that was a very well played round there for the City side. So first off, there is a player in Spawn that just gets caught off guard, or at least Thomas misses the opportunity of being able to deal with him, and they just start filtering in towards a mid to B. Disturbed with that distraction of the Cities coming through, allows himself to be able to fight a triple, and you're right about the time. Even if they went straight towards that short plant, even if it went down instantly, there probably wouldn't have been time spare.
Yeah, I don't think they would have done. Way too down to the wire for Endpoint. And now going to go towards the Eco Pistols upgrades involved. MP7 as well for Crucial. All in all, not much by comparison to what HAVU have. And X7 kicks things off by dealing with Thomas' headshot on the Scout. Now looking for Mighty Max next up here towards the mid control. Alongside the players also at the lower tunnels entrance. Flashing for Slowy. SMG to see Surreal. Sees Mighty Max as well. Burst fire. Can't quite catch the kill. Eventually should be able to suppress them though.
They're just hoping for a little bit of something, hoping to catch a reload or one of the CTs just trying to move around. But for the most part, this is a pretty easy picking round. Zori just trying to see if we can farm up a little bit more money. They are gaining some short control at least.
There's 2 more picks in for Aerial and Zori. Crucial and Mezzi. Working to get some sort of frags back against their name. Zori in particular with the SMG shouldn't be allowed to get this kill. He is going to get it anyway. And now whilst all left was Crucial. 1 versus 5. Bomb on his back. Out much that he can really do here. Scout shot ringing out slowly to wrap the corner. Man tagged up and now dead and buried. So 3-0 start. HAVU up against the rifles here for Endpoint.
And what's so insane for HAVU is, yeah, they've won 7 out of their 8 past Dust 2 maps, but it's just the caliber of teams that they've been playing and actually getting results on. Entropic twice, Ends twice, victory over Fiend, victory over MIBR. Their only loss recently was towards Skade, and even that was down to the wire at 13-16. And have a look at how far Skade have gone.
Can they go the distance here on the HAVU side themselves? Force guns out, nades on, doing damage to the Endpoint camp. In Mighty Max and Mezzi, tagged heavy. Molotov's involved, Disturb will spray through, get overwhelmed by Mezzi on his shot back of the AK. Mighty Max going to continue the entries, but can't see Disturb past this smoke. Endpoint have bursted definitively into the site, and Disturb gets tagged to 7 points of health here. Eventually, Thomas and Cyril luck out towards elsewhere on the map. They get the kills alongside Crucial, who doubles up in mid-control. And yes, it's easy pickings for Endpoint as all 5 stay alive there in that round.
That's quite a statement. That looked very methodical. Really good utility usage out towards the B side. Really good entry setups coming in, and just Crucial trying to cut the rotations off from mid. Well played rounds from Endpoint.
A well-held position from HAVU initially, but as you mentioned, methodical execution with all the kills coming in at the right moments. Double AWPs on the buyback for the CT side. And Endpoint probably will be aware of this, but it's Slowy that finds the first pick on Crucial, held out towards T-Spawn. Not sure what he was waiting for, but that's a great opening start. Cyril can get the trade.
So he was just waiting for the pixel angle. He was giving himself just enough information. If there was an aggressive play towards lower tunnels, he'd be able to see it. The only downfall is, though, is if Slowy goes aggressive like he did, you could just get caught off.
Right reads at the right moment as HAVU doing their homework. Again, that trade is available when Zori is so low on HP here with the AWP. Try reposition up towards the window position. One player back over at the main doorways as Zori gets his kill involved. Flashes going over, smokes down. Sturb still waiting for his moment to strike. Zori gets tagged up. Messi checks it, I think, for his trouble, but does get it to a 3-on-3.
That's a very good hard check coming through from Mezzi, because Zori's just trying to bait, just trying to pull all the distraction away, hope that position does not get checked, and now they've got to try and retake.
Smoking center of the site here for X7 will try at least get a bit of cover towards the back line, but exposed towards Car, and nothing will be done to the players on the site themselves. Thomas gets dinged through the door twice, and now Mezzi got to focus on the players back towards tunnel, sees the couple of players, peeks up against the AWP, drops him, sees that second man, Aerial and X7 still get those kills together, so it's all into Cyril in the back corner of the site, and Aerial still gets his pick involved, and the defuse will be stuck here, and HAVU will find a fourth.
A decent retake coming through from HAVU. It is going to be slightly low without that kit, but they'll be able to get the bomb defused. Endpoint. Just in that sort of situation, it seemed like Mezzi at the back of the plat had already made the round-winning play. At a 3-on-3, he then turned it back to a man advantage 1-by-1, but then just how quickly some of those M4s are able to bounce back.
Very efficient there on the retake there for the HAVU side. You thought that they would be a little bit locked out after the hit come forward for Endpoint, but dinks through doors, and despite the trays in the back, it's still a decent round for HAVU. A tactical still coming in for the CT side though, Dwight.
Yes, indeed. And for the experts out there, if you know your stuff, head on over to pinnacle.com/odds. Got a large majority of markets you can choose from, and get into a bit of a stage in the tournament, Jay, where there's actually not that many games left. We had that early group stage of the single elim bracket. We had Swiss. Now we're going into quarterfinals. Tomorrow, it's going to be semis and grand final. That's it.
Yeah, one more day, of course, after this one, and of course, both teams would love to be involved in those final days, so you only got a few more opportunities to get involved in the Pinnacle Cup. HAVU and Endpoint will be battling for their final spots. Good shot on Crucial. What a shot straight through on Disturbed. That's a bit more like it for the AWP.
That's what I want to see. A great opening pick coming through. Just well-timed. No smoke for the cross. And just a straight shot coming through for Endpoint. That allows themselves to get a 5-on-4. Try and see if they can bait out an early mistake. And what a return after losing that last round that is for them.
Waiting back here with Endpoint pressing issue into the A set. Over to that short control. And Mighty Max in particular leads that charge. Zori set with his AWP out, aiming a bit low. I think he might catch the body shot regardless on this longhouse face. A smoke involved from his teammate will suppress them. Stop the hit from coming forward for now.
This split out to the A site, though, it's all about pulling the distraction, trying to relocate the CTs out to the A site to allow that wrap to come in from long.
And they might have a bit of information as well to the fact that there was a long house play because the smoke went down as the smoke came out for Endpoint, and they didn't commit towards the hit after the smoke had bloomed from the CT side. But Zori still finds Max trying to lurk aggressive out here towards Elba, a bit out in the open as the 3 other T-side players commit towards it. Thomas does find a pick, but Zori now pressured from all angles, gets his second kill involved, sees the gun barrel of the AK, USP going around that corner, very risky, and it doesn't pay off for him. So 3-on-2 as the bomb can go down.
And they get very lucky there. They really don't have a lot of util to work with. Rotations coming in from short quickly.
That's forward. Crucial gets his own ult pick in. Can't quite land a second. So slowly have to clutch it once again in a 1 versus 3. He's found his first. Nade back to the second. Mezzi will take some damage, but not a lot of it. So that's 62 points of HP. Slowly with that flashbang, utilizing the last of his util. Where does he go with this? Does he even go with this? Does he fall back to save? The money's not there for HAVU. That might be an option. The timer ticks so low, I think, yeah, he does decide towards it. Look back in just in case he can get an exit, but he's going to hold on to the rifle, and Endpoint will have their second.
It was a very risky call in terms of the setup. Like that whole round is just drier than the Sahara Desert. I mean, there's no flashes, there's no smokes, there's nothing for the cross. And for Zori, at least for that first pick, patches off Mighty Max fine. But it's just maybe the whole idea that he thought more utility was coming and they needed to have a little bit more information out from Longhouse. That actually drives him away from the A side.
Great sequence of Zori to start as well with the kills on the first and second players. It was the aggressive wrap around the corner against Thomas that really cost him, I feel like. I mean, he didn't really have much of a choice. He had to kind of push forward, but the USP is not good enough in that particular case. Once again, Crucial landing shots through the mid doors. Not quite a kill this time on a man, but tag damage done to Disturbed. Smokes ahead of it. Mighty Max recognizes what's going on, but Slowy still picks up 2 kills for it. AK saved. Deagle also involved. Mezzi can get both those players back and recover the bomb alongside Thomas's kill out Longhouse. Will make it a 3-for-2 trade for Endpoint.
That's a very good recovery. That was an excellent start coming through for HAVU with a couple of picks in from Slowy, but then everything just going back and forth. Eventually it gets to a bit of a position where the CTs are now just stuck out from mid, and X7 and Aerial, they're just hoping for anything on this force up. Again, with the money of where it sits for HAVU, they've sort of had to eco quite heavily in round 7. They're going to have to eco again. They cannot buy in the next round.
Try to look for that AK perhaps here in area. Yep, he'll grab it. He's got a couple of drop T-side players as well. So if X7 gets forced away, it may be best for him to save on to the AK that they dropped. One of the AKs they dropped, he gets a shot in instead. Crucial there with a trade back sort of to X7. Sees both of the players, but can't line up the kills. So damage done to the T-side and for Nico. I don't think that's terrible here for HAVU, but haven't really got the basis of a buy here for round 8.
Just eco again. Just allow Endpoint to get up to 4. You could see a couple of upgrades here or there. 2,400 loss bonus. They've got some money to work with. You probably might at least want to try and get the double AWPs out again onto both Zori and for Slowy. Gonna see a scout upgrade actually coming through for the in-game leader. And for Endpoint, all about momentum here on T side.
Oh, scout shots now coming in from Slowy to land towards Crucial, and the snipers doing wonderful down mid thus far, especially in the case of Endpoint, but still something to return here for HAVU, and with a scout in play. And the eco basis to work with here for round 8, seeing what damage HAVU can do. That could have been a fantastic kill if they'd opened it up, but so far, so little gain by either side. Even Crucial, the advanced angle, finally gets a kill back on Slowy in the second phase. The AK involved for Surreal. Finally, doesn't even catch Zori actually. Aerial bays him out, but Crucial and Mighty Max are there. A couple more picks back between those players. The start does find one exit frag, but that's as far as it should go from here.
Won't get away with too much more than that. And at least in the early section of Dust 2, it's good to see that Crucial is finding some decent form. Disturbed, trying to see if he can hold on to the AK, not to be at all. So we're going to be able to close him up. Be able to close the deficit now to nothing. 4-4 tagged up. But yeah, Crucial up towards 9 kills. I guess towards the back end of Overpass, he was finding some decent impact, but not like he is here on Dust 2, at least from the start.
And we go for a piece. Realized by Endpoint. A solid start from HAVU was once again there, much like it was for the likes of Overpass. See Endpoint equalize and try to look for a lead very early on in the match is much more encouraging by comparison to the start of Overpass, although still not getting away with a definitive T side at the moment here, the Brits. They're setting towards the mid control. Zori's orb ready against Mighty Max. Dry face from the man. He takes no damage, though.
On the T side, we're seeing a lot of these just, at least angles being posted, and a lot of these duels looking to be taken just without a lot of utility. That allows Zori to just be able to fall back, get over to Car.
Smokes involved. Orb trying to look for a gap in the smokes, but so far seeing nothing with further Molotovs. Indicating the A hit. His back is turned towards the site itself, but him and his teammates are going to fall away. Going for the retake here for HAVU.
I don't think they will. They've got no kit. They have no advantage. This could just be a 5-on-5 save.
The rotation's coming a little bit slow, so I understand why you think that, but now Disturbed is making his way up towards spawn alongside the aggression from Aerial. Thomas going to try and siphon off rotations from the mid control, but they're coming in from CT spawn, so they're going to need that backup and the player over at short to try and converge in. Shot missed out, the crucial. Aerial can get Mighty Max instead. X7 chimes in on towards Surreal, so that mid backstab dealt with. 3 kills coming in efficiently. Mezzi finally with a response alongside Thomas. Util on the site, getting those kills involved, but it's all left towards Thomas as Mezzi ends up falling with a wallbang. And the CTs are forced back here without the kit and without the time. Good try from HAVU. We're coming in a little bit late, but as you saw those 3 kills pour in, you thought that round was possible.
Oh, I never thought that round was possible. I don't know what they're thinking out there. I don't know why it's so slow. Like, when you're in 5v5 retake and you've got to try and get towards the A side, you don't have a kit. You've got to get a move on. And all it comes down to for Endpoint, even if they lose the majority of those duels, if they are just wasting time and pulling distractions, pulling fights, they're going to win that round. There's no way HAVU are going to get back onto that bomb in time. They needed to get a move on, and they didn't.
Just pistols and UMPs out for the HAVU rebuy around the double orb setup. At least they save the 2 big greens, but Endpoint getting away with a round that ultimately cost HAVU quite a lot there. We slow into the defaults. At least they have a bit of presence in towards that long control. Deal out for Slowy. Good attempt. Mezzi gets his kill by X7. And look down towards that long control, but we'll see nothing of the T-side line. You will see one player jumping above that smoke. Molotovs to force him away, though. He's got backup. They're going to have to get here and try and hold off against the Endpoint here.
And they've got players up close and personal, but even some of these spam shots through the smoke, they've done no damage as of yet.
Say that, finally Disturbed does get his kill involved, but X7 overwhelm Max in their area will fall, so we're Disturbed. All left of the AWP is Zori, 1 versus 4. He's found that first pit. Switching out to the knife as he sees another T-side player, but falling back anyway to hold on to the weapon. 6 to the board of Endpoint, and I guess you can consider that a bit of an upgrade eco around there for HAVU. So again, a little bit of on the chin from the CTs, but Endpoint will start to extend the lead here on T.
It's looking a little bit rough for HAVU so far on their City side. They haven't been able to find a massive amount of success. Even got a bit of a hunt coming through for T-Spawn. So for Zori, there could be a way in which this AWP does fall if he goes out to that area, but instead, going to play out for the tunnels, so shouldn't be any chance of this AWP falling.
And hold it together here towards the low tunnel position. Hope they can get an exit frag. Maybe there might be a player coming in from upper, but nah, they wait. Hold back to keep their own weapons in check for Endpoint. They have built up the economy game, though, so they can start to afford to throw weapons at the hands of the CT side. It might be a case of also trying to avoid giving up the AKs to them, but for Endpoint, the bottom line is the scoreline. It's 5 rounds in a row at a 6-4 lead, so things are looking pretty top for the T side. But again, guns are back out for HAVU.
And Endpoint just haven't played a massive amount of Dust 2. Recently, another great shot through the doors. Come on, why aren't they smoking it early round? They've got to put the nade down.
Especially with Crucial and these shots consistently, like you'd hope that a jump phase and he wouldn't be able to get it every single time, but this AWP has been fantastic with those kills. Mezzi, fantastic with the openers as well. Again towards Longhouse, he gets that first frag in on Aerial. Surreal might have given up some info to X7, and the player can get a trade involved. So mid-control taken back by the CT forces. Endpoint set up to the A play.
And just get those cross smokes set up, just commit with the long take, keep the AWP out from the pit, just try to get a little bit of an angle to the site itself, but no one's really peeking on A for HAVU. Finally, Zori does.
An advantage gained here by the CT cam, a bit of a gap in that smoke. Counter Molotovs bursting in the right positions. Mighty Matt's going to be careful about his face here. X7 tries to get behind the smoke over at the Goose angle. Mezzi caught in the midst of that smoke, aggress forward towards CT spawn. Mighty Max does get one good kill involved, but to get the bomb to the site with the AWP of Crucial trying to support him. Plant will be secured on default, 2v3.
And this is very winnable for the T side, especially if they can slow it down again. You've got kits in play, but HAVU, they're desperate for a bit of a pick-in.
Damage being done. The Slowy in particular, the face in towards the CT spawn. We'll see Disturbed instead. He gets his kill. And now Max with all to do. Has seen Zori first and foremost. We'll see Disturbed secondly, but Disturbed ends up with a triple to again hold the round together for HAVU. A fifth will be on the CT board. And Disturbed continuing just to hold the confident numbers like he did over on Overpass. I don't know how he does it. I really don't, man. He's been a stellar element for HAVU today.
They put a lot of pressure on the AWPer, that's for sure. Just trying to bait out a couple of shots, allow that kill to come in quite easy, and just follow up with a double, make sure they're winning that retake, and just try to close this deficit. 5 on the chop by Endpoint. The streak does get ended, but even with where the money sits, they've got enough to be able to go for an investment back.
See why the odds at Pinnacle currently do favour Endpoint relatively heavily here. And again, the smoke not even being utilised here by the CT side. They jump ahead of it and allows one more tag to come through from Crucial. Zori down to 31 this time. And behind that mid smoke, and Zori will try peek forward of a crack angle here towards the mid doors. No T-side players getting up the ghost just yet. I think they'll smoke it down. No, they will cross instead, baiting further shots as Disturbed gets tagged out towards the B side.
Just a straight spam coming through from the lurker in the upper tunnel, so really good damage being continued here for the Endpoint side. HAVU in a bit of a spot where they kind of do need a bit of an advantage, and out towards long, at least they've got map presence, but they don't have any eyes on this short position.
There's 60 seconds remaining. Endpoint setting ready this short control. Max and Surreal set with their smokes up. Molotov's also involved. Backline to the Incendiary is going to force them away. 45 to the clock. Endpoint will start walking into the mid to B play.
They're just trying to fake the A side, try and see if you can scramble the rotations, but Slowy and Co are still here on B.
Swing out with a flashbang. Slowly does catch damage onto the likes of Surreal. 2 points of health. That HC might finish off the job against him, and indeed he does end up falling. So, 2 kills back for Slowy. Disturbed gets overwhelmed. Slowy turns a triple as Thomas finally overwhelms to grab that bomb, get it back to the site. A mid-lurk coming in from Crucial as an AWP set and ready, but he can't cut off rotations with this. He needs to peek in right now to deal with X7 or just go for a flank.
Thomas needs help. There's no way that Crucial could start to slow it down. Thomas has just got to try and stay alive, wait for the backstab.
I think he had his attention drawn towards him. Oh, the AWP's out of position, but still, Crucial missed the shot and Zori trades it, so now it's all left to Thomas. The tank engine parking himself back behind Platt and doesn't leave the station. X7 takes the wheels off him and gets 6 for HAVU.
Wow, that really looked like for a moment that Crucial was going to be able to sneak under the AWP. Have a bit of a crack out on the shot towards one of the players coming quite quickly on the rotation, but as soon as that AWP misses, instant capitalization coming through for Zori.
Well done for Slowy on this defensive here, getting 3 kills by the end of it. And 1 missed shot for the AWP takes away any chance that Endpoint had to win that last round. 6 apiece here between HAVU and Endpoint. Once again, the AWP set into the defaults. It's the AK of Aerial, however, the strikes first and foremost. Mighty Max, first man down.
Again, they peek out dry towards mid. They put the smoke down, but it's already too late. Disturbed gets an early tag in. Endpoint go quite quickly into the short position. A lot of these footsteps being heard.
Dropping down into the B doors, or the mid doors, I should say. Surreal leading the charge. X7 with a smoke back to counteract it here. Smoke's involved towards the CT spawn. And a spray blind gets Surreal to drop Thomas on low HP. Can't find a trade back, but it's 2 for 1. That favours the CT side. The late lurker, the AWP up from Crucial, might be required to get back into the site itself. 2 players to find and Disturbed and Slowy. Slowy set with the M4, ready to receive them at the mid doors. Incendiary back past the B doors. And gets caught by Mezzi. 3v3. Now 1 player left on the site itself. And Zori's there to bail him out. The swing comes forward. He tags up Crucial to 10 points of health. And now to nothing. And swings back on Mezzi to double up. And get the lead now back for HAVU.
These B anchors are doing a really solid job. Slowy again, just wasting time, being able to gather information and just setting up Disturbed. Zori helps out massively with that AWP, just being able to chip in onto Thomas, but Disturbed, just the jiggle peeks out to the side, wide swing out towards Mezzi. Class, absolute class.
And again, Disturbed is continuing to hold his own here in this matchup. Scout for Mezzi now set into the mid position on this eco round for Endpoint. There are upgrade pistols, but a lack of Kevlar on the majority of them. Leaves nothing for Endpoint to work with in the grand scheme of things. HAVU. Slowly to face into the mid doors, but doesn't see anything. Back out of dodge.
Endpoint, even in this take-up towards a short position, it's going to be difficult without the util. Zori just getting walked in by Mighty Max. Easy shot for the AWP.
Come with the push, dealer Zori. Sees the headshots, and actually Seven gets some credit with the kills. Damage being done by some of the HEs, but Mezzi finally gets one good frag in, and the bomb will get planted. So there's bonus money here for Endpoint, but everything else might be a formality here. Mezzi does get one more good pick back. Tech 9 involved, and Mezzi does get another good frag as well with a scout. AWP next up to face for Zori. Tap forward. He's still trying to see if he can bait in more CT presence. Seeing the player out towards the elbow, tagged up. No scope shots, missing out the pistol of Zori can finish off the job. So 3 casualties and a bomb plot. That's not bad for Endpoint, but HAVU will hold the half.
And maybe this is a chance that we could start talking about maybe the negatives of the Mezzi show. We know that he's been an unbelievable player since joining up with this Endpoint side. 17 kills and 10 deaths on the T side. Where is everyone else? How are we only seeing Mezzi get opening man advantages, really important kills on post plants? The assistance just is not there.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% on the money with that one. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense, especially when you consider that there are some very talented players. Like Thomas, before he was called to Envy, was an incredible star for Endpoint in previous. And Crucial's AWPing has been not amazing and not consistent, but it has hit some pretty decent highs, especially during the Flamesy era. It's Ariel that forces forward on the IGL, and Mighty Max, who's not calling anything more in the mid control. He's calling I'm dead. Start out for HAVU again here in round 15.
Very nice counterplay out from HAVU to get aggressive like that. Good flash placement, and even Zori, he's so ready for the long contact.
Up at the ready. Watching in a very tight angle, not quite a crack angle. Has a teammate downstairs as well. Incendiary's up as Surreal starts facing around with the AK. The utility inbound, the counter spokes back in the Molotov to drive that play away from Gandalf. Nades also involved with some damage to Thomas and Surreal. Bombs yet to cross to the site here. It should come in right about now, and the CT's a lot of presence held back here towards short behind these smokes. Finally, the AWP has been seen, or has it been? No, he's doing a look for his positions, and the T side have no idea how to counteract him slowly. Gets his own AWP involved on Crucial. 5 versus 3, and now Zori gets back in towards Gandalf, the bomb plant, and the out can be secured.
They're going to try and get it down. The CT's just giving a little bit of respect up in this 4 versus 2. Boost up out towards the elevator position. Mezzi doesn't know about it just yet.
Sturm facing in, kill on Thomas now, again in the 1 versus 3 clutch. He's got 2 kills already to his name. Knows that Slowey's down there somewhere at the CT spawn, but I've also spotted the player also on short. Keeping his head tucked away. Footsteps heard. Baiting the CTs to get aggressive. Man seen, and they both swing together. Very nicely coordinated there for HAVU. They will close out the half, 9-6 up on CT side.
I'm just impressed, really, from HAVU in that first half of Dust 2. The way in which they recovered the situation from losing 5 rounds in a row. And even in that 4 versus 2, you could just see the coordination, can't you? The way they peek off one another, the way that they're disciplined in nature. It's just a joy to watch.
Indeed it is. It's only the CT side. Now getting to the T side half where things can really get out of control for HAVU. Endpoint might be in trouble. You cannot find a good response here on the pistol. It's their CT half to play for here. Utility in for Crucial. No defuse kit for him though. Smoke double flash, and HAVU, much like in the last map, we're going to take a tactical timeout before the second half.
Okay, this is something that we've seen before. I'll have to wait and see if it continues going on. In terms of the kill count, pretty even between the 2 sides. I guess we had quite a close and competitive map 1. Same could be said for map 2. I wonder how much sort of deviation we're going to see with this kind of a comparison as the series goes on, because you have to expect in some sort of avenues in terms of maybe bomb plants or in terms of the assists and kills. As we get deeper into the series, it does normally start swaying more so one way than the other.
Well, the one stat that worries me the most there on that graph was bombs defused, which if you saw right there was all like purple. It was all HAVU.
Yeah,
And that
retakes.
does concern me if retakes are not quite there for Endpoint. Obviously, they'll be going for a number of save calls, but it is kind of characteristic for a CT side. But if you cannot get retakes together, then HAVU are going to waltz straight through on the pistols and the executions here. Endpoint better find a way to turn those numbers around very quickly. It's the pistol round going live with Util on X7 and Slowy for the T side line. Still no kits in for Endpoint, of course, so retakes will be even more harder for them. They have to go for them here in round 16.
Endpoint being able to get a little bit of util down for Crucial, who's just playing out for mid. No kit in play going into round 16. Just trying to see if he could be the spotter, gather any information. But so far, HAVU, they've been silent and have not given much away.
Walk up into that short presence. Aerial. Take face out here as the A-site holds with Surreal. Waiting back in the back lines. Smokes down as they cross and they go into the A play. USP's tapping forward. Mezzi gonna get caught and tagged down. Surreal trying to deal with even more of these players around the corner, but here they come straight in. Aerial with his pick, slow with a double up and player back towards pit control. Max getting gooshed down. 5 on 3 as the plant will be secured. Retake on for Endpoint, but they lose Crucial before it even gets planted.
This round is over. So much presence up for the T side. They just swing out all together. What an excellent pistol take that is towards the A side. Thomas does get away with one. Can he find any more than that? Okay. A little bit of further damage. Looking back out towards mid position in case there is a bit of a backstabber. But for HAVU, that's going to be the conversion. That's going to be them getting up to 10. And just how easy that A site was taken by them.
So effective and efficient. The pistol for HAVU to gain to get to 10 once again. Very similar again to how things went down over on the first map as well. So there's at least a bit of a positive entity in that respect, because we did see how Endpoint were able to play around that. But obviously a lot more work needs to be done for them. They had to get the conversion first and foremost.
For Endpoint, they're running out of opportunities really here on Dust 2 to be able to strike. We knew that they had that decent streak at a section of the first half of 5 in a row, but outside of that, they have not been able to find a massive amount of conversion rounds. Bit of a scout playing from mid. Early tag.
Damage done, no kills. No contact for Aerial, keeps his eyes on with the AK. Around that corner and slow. Facing into the mid position, but so quiet here in this early round. Round 17 has been a very passive one.
Flash out from mid, and they don't even commit with it. They're trying to see if they can bait a bit of fire, bait in a little bit of a shot, work with that information. And for Endpoint, they are giving them the whole ideal of, well, if you guys are going to go passive, we're not going to fight you for it. We're just going to hold back ourselves.
Wait for contact. Endpoint with Surreal as the first man around this corner in the short position. The smoke comes in from his teammates, disturbed. Takes a bit of damage out towards mid. And I don't know if that was Mighty Max's face or what. He does take some damage to return through the mid doors. 40 seconds though. HAVU still not showing signs of an execution. They will start to form up towards short though.
Oh, it's a good resmoke. Really well timed there for Endpoint. And that actually might force HAVU into a split B play just because they can't commit it short now.
Sprays continue to come forward here for Thomas. Might draw their attention away from Surreal. Now they will go towards that mid to B play. You're right about that short presence held so confidently, but 15 seconds for HAVU to get the bomb to the site. And Thomas, will he force forward of this? Yes, he will. He'll see one player, but get caught by another one. Mighty Max with his kill in the backline. Scout here for Mezzi. Desperate to hold on to something for 5 seconds. The bomb will get planted in time. His Endpoint just couldn't hold on. The perfect circumstances given up to them, but firepower wasn't there, and neither was the execution.
And it's almost like that resmoke towards short, it wasted time, but it forced them to go mid to B, and that wasn't where the majority of the defense was from the Endpoint side. If they were somehow able to bait that short take coming through, they probably would have had a little bit more success. They had a stronger crossfire, they had more members, but that whole resmoke, HAVU go, well, time's low, 35 seconds, let's just fake short, let's go mid to B, let's overwhelm the side players, and they do that really effectively. Even Thomas just gets so desperate out from CT spawn, doesn't he?
Yeah, and that cost them that desperation, just again not checking all your positions and not considering all your options. Nothing left for Endpoint here in round 18. Got to be mostly an eco with upgrade pistols, USPs in with 3 other individuals, and no Kevlar, no util, no nada. Got to be easily picked apart by HAVU, surely.
Yeah, you'd expect so. Endpoint. And they need a miracle for anything to kind of happen in a round like this. I guess in terms of weaponry, there isn't a great amount of decent weapons here. You've got like a UMP, you've even got a P250 out for Disturbed, but really when this eco is this light, you can't have many expectations.
And P250. It's up for Surreal, Crucial and Surreal. Players on the crossfire. Seeing nothing of the T side line. A bit of aggression coming in towards this upper tunnels position, which might siphon off HAVU, funnel them in towards the A site, but kill not found on Mezzi. Got real close to doing so. Player peeking out at this particular moment. We'll try so we can get a pick in. X7 there to dish out the damage. Get the advantage at last for HAVU.
X7 looking for a little bit more. They commit with the smoke. They are actually taking a little bit of damage. That bomb does get dropped for a little while. Mighty Max on the site is even doing further. Oh my goodness.
Oh, no.
How have they got a 3-on-2?
HAVU, not like this, boys. Surreal being patient through the CT smoke. Galil picked up there by the likes of Crucial, dealt with as he's heard and detected. Smoke will start to clear. Player being seen out towards the window, and Zori and Slowly will just recover it. But for a second, you thought that maybe that would have come together there for Endpoint. Not to be in the end. Damage was done. That's the best they can hope for. The guns are out now for the CT side.
It looked promising, for sure it did, but it doesn't end up being a conversion, so there's not really much else to sort of lean on that whole conversation starter. What we now can start drifting into is the double AWP setup here in the opening rifle round of the second half. We've got Crucial and Mezzi onto the big greens. Zori looking for a couple of those pop shots through mid, but not to be like it was in the first half.
The gate here, kill found, and there was Mighty Max doubling up here towards the outside of Longhouse. Good sequence to get a 2-man advantage, but look at how far Aerial kicks face here over towards the mid to B play. It costs him though, unsupported by U2 and teammates, and HAVU so scrappy and full send into this round. 5-on-2, 3-man advantage for Endpoint here.
It's a very important kill to come through for Surreal. Just try and slow down that whole rat presence in from mid to B. The teams are looking for a little bit of a mistake, and Disturbed, well, that's a bit of a decent kill.
Mentioned mistakes, that's one given up by Surreal, but it's not the only mistake they're going to need here. The mistake involved could be the fact there's only one player here towards that B side defense. It's Mezzi, who has been stellar so far for Endpoint. Blind fire from Thomas looking into the window angle. Orp should hear these footsteps, see the player dropping down. Great shot, Disturbed can trade it, get a bomb plant here, but he's going to have to ace clutch this in a 1v3.
Just get money, try and do some further kills here or there, but 1v3 is going to be difficult. He doesn't isolate that first pick at least.
Ah, but not the second. Try to fake the reload, get Crucial to peek him. Didn't happen though. Quick swing, headshot found, or recovered on both of the individuals for Endpoint, and that will be a solid start of their CT side. Bomb plant bonus did come through for HAVU though, so I think there should be a decent buy on the table. There's some money in reserve as well, so yeah, there should be a pretty decent buy on the table for the T side line. Endpoint really should have held more in that one, but 1v3 still comes up with the trades.
I'm very worried about Surreal in this game. He dropped, what, 17 kills out in the first map. He's now 6 and 17. He's just had a shocker. And you've got to wonder, well, how is Mighty Max going to be able to micromanage him differently to get more impact out of Surreal? Because we know, yeah, he's not a star of this player. He's a little bit more supportive, but he has just had a really rough best of 3 so far.
Inconsistency of that could be a bit of something to worry about. We mentioned him earlier. Being an inconsistent player. Same with the double AWP setup for Endpoint. It's Crucial and Mezzi rocking the big greens. Mezzi in particular looking out towards the mid control. Passive on mid. And then there'll be a chance to fight against the T-side line, but back angle held by X7. He starts leaning up. Finally gives up the ghost. Mezzi takes the kill. Looks in for a second man. Disturbed will not go quite as aggressive.
A very tight angle for the NWP to try and hit. No flash, no nothing for the Ts, and just they fall back. They hold on to the 5v4. Don't offer up anything else towards the T side. And for HAVU, because of that, now going to start regrouping up to the short angle.
All ready for Crucial. Smoke down onto the short position with flashes and smokes towards the CT spawn as well. HAVU going in for this. Surreal still catches one of the gap in the smoke as they try and drop off towards CT. Missed shot for Crucial, responded to by Surreal. 2 players left for the T side line. Surreal makes it a triple and drops the bomb as well. Zori got it all to do. He gets his first pick in. Sees the second man as well. Just about gets that kill, but Mighty Max swings back from the long presence and gets his frag back to return the round towards Endpoint.
That's what I want to see from Surreal. A nice, tidy triple coming in from him. Yeah, Zori towards the end of that round did still make it quite expensive, but with no bomb plant, with that round not being converted, they're going to have to be on an eco. There is not a lot of money. A couple of decent shots coming through for Zori. Even this last one getting up to 20. He's been really high and impactful.
Indeed he has. HAVU now down to the pistol, so no impact can be held by the T side line in this particular round. They're going to rush their way into the A side. They're going to hear those footsteps and adjust towards it. 2 players on the long control, and a great flash in. Catches Thomas for blind, still gets the kill on the first player, and turns back in for the second as well. M4 of Surreal also holds back against 2 others. Gets a kill on the first man, Nade to the second. Should deal with X7. Unfortunately, there will be no bomb plant here for this particular round. Slowy all remains 1v5, and all stay alive here for Endpoint for the eco cleanup, and the gun's back for HAVU.
It would have been nice for a bomb plant, but the utility usage is better for Endpoint. And they are starting to close the gap. Now, we do know historically the City side has definitely been the weaker one for Endpoint. So if they really want to try and get this comeback together, you've got to imagine keeping the economy strong, being able to get Messi onto the double AWP as soon as they can, as soon as the money allows them to do so, and just work with the streak, work with the momentum.
Set and ready. The gun round here for round at 22. Endpoint worked in against this, bringing this whole lead back from the brink here, back to a 3-round deficit, and close range from the likes of Crucial will find Slowy. The smoke will clear, and he'll see a second man, but doesn't register accuracy to the short arrow. Gets spotted to the edge of that smoke. He does get dealt with, but it's 2 for 1 of the trade, so back to a 3v3 will go, and X7 leans up from the short control. As no CT was covering it off, they overwhelmed towards long by a line back into the A site.
A massive lack of information. The CT is just so slow to rotating, and there's so much emphasis out from long that they don't even have eyes on short, and that just allows an easy pick in from X7. Endpoint, they want to go for this.
I think they might just do. Flash over, nade in. M4 of Mighty Max starting to swing. X7 gets caught, so the HG as well could get the kill. Oh, it lands a little bit off. Had that landed directly, got the frag, then Endpoint commit to the retake, but they don't. Therefore, they save. Therefore, it's 13 for HAVU.
And that's probably what the call is. We get a kill with the nades, we go for it. If not, we'll back off and save. Hold on to our weapons. Disappointing, knowing how X7 was so low, but they go in for the safer approach, hold on to the weapons, buy around it into the next. HAVU, wow, just that whole play from X7 just felt like he had the easiest time in the world there. Just running up short, no care in the world. Everyone, his attention is out towards long, and X7 just has a free passage.
HAVU can grow the lead once again, continue to extend it into the T side half. Endpoint getting away with a couple of decent rounds here and there, but nothing definitive so far here on the CT half. They got those 3 since then. Still being a challenging affair for HAVU. They will lose this first pick at the Longhouse. Once again, Endpoint have been great with dealing with this. Leave Mighty Max up there as they focus their attention back into the short and mid presence.
Yeah, Endpoint working hard for that opening man advantage out from the long position, but now we might even see a bit more emphasis on a walkout from mid. Disturb just trying to see if he can create a little bit of a play himself, but it's not happening.
Flash over, AK involved. It's Surreal that picks up a kill alongside Crucial. Dropping the bomb, and Crucial doubles up as well. Zori smoke to try and grab the bomb back of his own right, but should be known now to the CT side, and that jump face gives up the info that Crucial needs to adjust, get his 3K, and get Endpoint 10.
And honestly, if you're a viewer out there that likes to see some good AWPing, this whole series is delivered in that kind of a fashion. We've seen some very, very good moments from both Zori and from Crucial. Maybe hasn't been like the nuttiest of flicks and those like really big clutch situations, but just in terms of impact kills and following up in terms of consistency, we've seen a lot of that with the AWPing.
The tactical timeout now called in by HAVU to figure out how they're going to adjust against that AWP. Watch it one more time to see how stellar it really was. 2 great shots, and then again, it was the jump face. You could see him over that smoke. Allow Crucial and adjust. Loving that, absolutely. You can trust him to hold his line in the back at times. Just like you can trust Trustly when speed is the name of the game. Don't let your playing experience be disrupted by slow payments. Choose Trustly to make payments flow quickly from account to account. You can try making payments through Trustly at pinnacle.com/odds, where you'll find the latest play and offerings, of course, for this game. So, a lot of pressure on the board here for Endpoint, and no one's respite for them as well. How do they continue momentum here, Dweg?
Well, it's just all about being able to continue to break the economy. And even on these eco rounds, if you don't let HAVU get bomb plants, you're just going to be in the buy eco stance where they're just not getting that loss bonus forward. They're not getting that extra cash injection at the bomb plant. And try to keep the AKs is in for as long as possible on the city side. It's got to be everything.
Standard smokes up towards that longhouse control for Endpoint to indicate that they are up there, but they have left it pretty open in position. It's only Thomas on the long corner going back further passive of that. It's not a lot to work with for HAVU on this particular round. They've got Eco involved, upgrade pistols. Set with a couple of smokes that can go out towards this long commitment, or they could go for the mid to B play. How do they go about this? 60 seconds to decide.
It seems like Zori's just selling the fake, just trying to pull the rotations out towards a short position, but everyone is mid to B.
Nezzy's seen that. Smoke down to the B doors. Ready for Slowy. Just against him, trying to see if he can get ahead of the game. Here in the reloads, none of these players are out here. Incendiary almost being thrown up there. That should dismantle the setup. Mighty Max will get the first kill with Aerial. Meanwhile, out towards mid. Control looks back towards CT Spawn, but Slowy catches them off guard. The bomb gets dropped by Mezzy, who gets traded back by Slowy. So it's a bit of a back and forth on the kill count, but Crucial comes up good at the back of the B site. Naded out of HP. Zori still lands his frag, but he's left the bomb out mid. Take the swing at the right time, get the kill, get the round for Endpoint. But again, silver linings for HAVU, 3 casualties.
And they did recover the double AKs, at least, though, for Endpoint, so none of those T-side weapons get dropped at all. But it's expensive, for sure it is. And for Endpoint, maybe just being a little bit flustered out towards that B site. They had a lot of players, not ideal. Winning 5 out of the past 6 rounds and just closing the gap in this deficit.
Endpoint desperate to grind their way into this 2-0. If they can find it here above HAVU, it would set themselves up nicely for the semi-finals. Need confidence going in against the Sinners side, who have been looking hot once again lately, so definitely would be a positive pickup for the Endpoint side. Disturbed. Gonna fight fire with fire out here towards Longhouse. Thomas is aggressive and he'll spray through the wall. Do damage to the man. Does not get the kill just yet, though.
Oh, timing's real. Actually ends up being able to back off towards CT Spawn, puts that smoke down to the molly. But for HAVU, they've got a very good avenue to just commit out towards mid to B, especially with X7 just watching the cross, seeing no aggression coming through from any of the B players.
They couldn't quite isolate the pick for it. HAVU start walking in with Aerial. AK leaning up towards this short presence, going to keep his eyes on. Try and look back in against the likes of Crucial. His AWP is so ready for this short commit here. Smokes that are ready for the execution for HAVU. Once again, same setup as last time. This time it will be no fake. Counter Incendiary. Try to get towards Elbow and stop them. Flashbang still blinds off the AWP, but turns him away. T-side players not diving down towards the CT Spawn. The bomb will get to the back of the site here. The AWP can line up a frag for it alongside Surreal's AK, and the AWP still looks for the cross. Looks away at the wrong moment. They get back behind the short boxes and plant it.
And they've got the bomb down, but they need more. Crucial gets another shot in the round.
5 on 3. All bang shot connected for the big greedy. Hands on Zori as well, but only a tag up. AK trying to get involved here towards long. The short player still coming forward as Zori gets a pick back to trade alongside Slowy to get it to a 3 versus 3. Endpoint still not able to support in time, but Thomas's AWP comes up good to maintain a man advantage and doubles up on Zori. X7 now in the center of the site. Got all the players to deal with. Awkward sprays back on towards Messi, but Thomas can clean it up. Got to get to that bomb, get the defuse, and Endpoint will take 12.
I cannot remember the last time I saw an AWP in Thomas's hands, but my goodness, maybe we need to see it a little bit more often. Really, really important couple of kills out from that long position. Looked like for a moment there, HAVU was recovering that. Remember, that was a 3v5 situation after Crucial got away with a couple of AWP kills, but it seemed like Thomas was just the defining factor in that round.
Now 13 to 12. We're now within one of the lead. Endpoint. Pushing their way forward out towards this long position. The CT side set. Smokes down for Mighty Max. Going to try and look in against the T side line. Up ready is Mezzy. Turns away from the flashbang and catches Mighty Max completely blinded off. The Mac 10 as a result for the style can get the kill in, and Mezzy's just not hitting shots in the back here. Finally, one good flick back, no info on the other players. So it'll be a 2-for-1, and Endpoint start to fall back here. Man advantage for HAVU with rifles picked up and kills through smokes. Now they've got to save.
Oh, how do they get E-codes? How is it that kind of buy, which is the one that gets HAVU up to 14? Just when Endpoint have got such a great chance of evening up the scoreline, tying it up at 13-13, they lose to an eco. It's just not good enough.
Yeah, that's not great. Really, really not great there for Endpoint. HAVU with a crucial momentum swing round. Is that going to be enough to get them back past the finish line and take us to a third map here? Endpoint don't want to go there. Seeing how much they fought back here on this map to avoid this. Almost a requirement here for the Brits.
I can see this potentially going to OT.
No.
Oh, they even lose another AWP. Oh, that just hurts the situation so much more, because that could have been one where Crucial goes, okay, I'll drop an M4 over to a teammate. Surreal can do the same. Mezzy by himself will force it up, and they're going to do the same, but the buy, it's nowhere near as pretty now.
At least have the AWP back on Crucial, but a CZ and a 5-7 for Max and Thomas. Utility in here is HAVU. Play towards the B defaults immediately here. Disturbed. Look back towards the top of the spawn as Crucial looks back with the big green up into the mid control. Let's see somebody back here at the tunnels, but so far so little's gained. You might have heard footsteps, but he's not found contact.
They need an advantage, and that's why you can see him just prodding, trying to see if he can get slightly aggressive, catch one of the CTs trying to reposition up towards Xbox, because they need advantages.
AWP set up, ready for aerial. Utility in, flash over, shot, flick, missed out. Crucial. Consistently inconsistent, it feels like. Aerial gets the pick in, so we're going to get both of these headshots against the first man. Struggles to get the second, but comes up with the kill. Might have still saved this site here for the CTs, but is pressured with HP, and backup is nowhere near him and nowhere behind him. Got to get in from CT as the bomb does get planted. X7 was caught with damage done towards the mid control, so they get the 4 versus 2.
That was super long range, but it was just the whole idea that X7 just gets caught completely off guard by that wrap play. 4-on-2 advantage now, make it even further. Surreal and Mezzy working together. What a great round again for Surreal to really come through, because for Endpoint, they only had one defender on A. That was the AWP. Missed shot, overwhelmed completely. Surreal was trying to come up from CT spawn.
Yeah, they needed a big play, and fortunately for them, Surreal delivered it. Especially after the initial missed shots from Crucial. That could have cost them the entire site. Doesn't happen, though. 13 for Endpoint, within 1 of the lead again for HAVU. Endpoint within 1 of the lead again for HAVU. Money is bolstered for the T side, though, so they can reinvest. It might look similar to the last Endpoint buy, though.
Yeah, it's a situation in which, when a HAVU gonna either get it over the line or stop these individual rounds, because they started off that 3-0 start with the pistol and conversion, but on T side, it's all been individuals.
AK set on Slowy. Molotov in towards that short presence. The Molotovs counteract from the CT side will try to keep HAVU away for the time being. Just as slow and careful in these defaults as they have been all game long so far here, HAVU. Set up towards the short and long takes. The nades in will do damage to Slowy. First shot fired, dished out against the T side.
One advantage, too, that HAVU are kind of bringing is that they know that Messi is the B anchor, and Messi has been such a key entity for Endpoint over the course of this entire best of 3. Unfortunately, in the second half, he hasn't had many opportunities to get involved because there hasn't really been many B plays.
That rotation's pretty early here because, again, they're going towards the A side. Crucial was up, set and ready. Thomas traded back by Aerial as he finds disturbed on the first pick. Aerial wrapping in, sees 2 more. Spray the second. Can't get the triple. Crucial sees another player, but finally he's traded back. So those 2 players on the B side up for the retake definitively this time. 3 on 2, and smokes and flashes to their position. They're going to push ahead of it, though, and Slowy baits them in, gets his kill. Mezzi in the 1v3. He's been amazing for Endpoint in this map up, and now he might have to go for the clutch play. Surely they can't let it get to map point.
Yeah, he kind of has to go for this here. They just don't have a massive amount of loss bonus to play with. Just believe in yourself that you can win the clutch.
No, he doesn't. And if your top fragger, if your main guy, if your star player in this matchup is not got the confidence to go for a clutch, I mean, yeah, it's CT save and all, but like you said, they kind of need to get something out of this. There's no loss bonus for Endpoint. No money in reserve. The buy for map point is going to look completely shattered for Endpoint. And HAVU could be taking us to a third once again against the Brits.
And just solid utility out from long. The way in which they flashed, they kind of peak with it. And between Aerial and Zori, they work together. And the A players just get caught, completely flashed. They're completely out of position out from that ramp angle itself. Cannot really deal easily with the long players. And for Endpoint, even though the City side has been great, they've been winning the majority of the rifle rounds, Jay. It's just them being on the back foot for the majority of this map that eventually leads them needing to come back to just bring it to OT.
Much like we had in the last map up. HAVU were the ones on a map point over on Overpass, and Endpoint brought back 3 in a row to take us to OT and win the map outright. It's not impossible right here, but again, the buy is so weak, and Surreal with this aggressive angle has got to get Aerial to drop first and foremost. We'll peek very aggressively around to the mid control, and that is a perfect chance for Zori to punish him. Great kill, starts things off.
They just bait in the aggression. Really good crossfire being established there by the T side. And for Endpoint, they're just desperate for another pick. They need some sort of way into the round. And for Thomas, it's the aggression off the back of this smoke.
SMG just fires away. Mighty Max comes in from lower tunnels, though. He'd missed out on the tunnels aggression. On top of that frag back, Thomas going to face in against Aerial at point blank. He turns up to get the frag, and that might have turned the tide in favor of Endpoint, but HAVU are attacking into the site itself. Scout close, AK at far. Thomas comes up with a pick and doubles up for the triple overall. And it looks like Endpoint might hold on to this for another good round. Zori with 2 picks, but no further than that. Max shuts it down, but Thomas, the hero for the CT side.
Thomas making a really, really big performance out in that short position. And it all just comes down to just being body blocked, really, towards that AK. Aerial, being low as it was, allows that fight to come through, comes back in towards the side, picks up the AK, flash high over the top, tries to just get a bait and switch to come through for the scout or crucial. And for Endpoint, that's up to 14 now.
Risky jumps in from the CT players out towards me. You don't want to take many risks right here. Calculate those a bit better for me. Endpoint. Outside of that mid aggression will not be taking too much aggression. Even the short player just rotating out as soon as he sees nothing on that corner will play in the passive position for Surreal. He's played this position wonderfully in the past. Will they press to his angle though?
There's so much pressure in round 30 for HAVU to convert, just knowing how OT went last time around in map 1. Out towards short, there's one player to deal with. They need a flash to force him off.
Osov in, will that drive him back? It will. Shouldn't spread far enough. Slowy. Waits for aggression. Further utility thrown out by the CT, trying to blind them off, but keeping them back here. 50 seconds. HAVU got to start thinking about this.
Mighty Max is making a little bit of an info play in the upper tunnels just with a jiggle peek, but for HAVU, is this going to be a fake in towards a short position? They've got players everywhere in from mid. They've got so many opportunities.
Counter smoke back for Endpoint. There's a jump face to Mezzi, tries to look for the players out towards the mid to B play. It will be him and Mighty Max to deal with this B aggression, but I think this might be a full commitment into that short play. 3 CTs to receive it as HAVU go into the A site once again. M4 in the back, secondary smoke down, flash involved, blinds off nobody here. The Orb of Crucial watching in the back and does catch a kill. M4 swing back for Surreal, gets a double up. Flashes go over as Surreal gets overwhelmed and a rotation start here with the CT line. Overextension, still gets X7 a kill, but Thomas trades it 3 on 2. Bombs on site and will get planted. It's retake time for Endpoint.
Yeah, Ariel's got to try and be able to back up his teammate, and for Zori, he needs a pick.
Orp trying to look in, trying to bait out Thomas to make a mistake, but he can't see the man. Looks back down range in towards long. I think a head just got spotted for Ariel, but Zori takes his chance to swing, trades it as Ariel goes down. 2 kills up to take a 3K overall. Damage done towards Mezzi so low, and they peeks into both of the individuals. Endpoint will hold the defuse, hold us to 15 as we go to overtime in our second map of the series.
We come here again, and for Endpoint, you do have to give them a big, massive amount of credit for saying, look, guys, they've come back from 12-15 on map 1. They've come back from 13-15 on map 2. But you can only give so much credit in the sense, well, for HAVU, it's the opposite, right? How have they not been able to close in map 1 and map 2? This could just be a 2-0.
That it could be. And again, considering how Endpoint did in that last overtime comeback, which is a similar scenario to how this whole thing ended up, HAVU have cause for concern. We on the T side start. Endpoint set themselves into the defaults as standard. The early aggression from Ariel trying to get a kill out towards Longhouse, but the AK not quite good enough. Smoked and mollied away. T side just hold their positions, taking minimal damage to start.
Endpoint just trying to see if they can take this early long control. Something we have seen from both respected T-sides of HAVU and Endpoint. Haven't seen a lot of long presence on T-side at all. Yeah, you might have the occasional long spawn here or there for the Orb to take the pick, but for the most part, it's been very heavy on the mid defaults to try and just see if they can work a bit of a play, work with the information, and at least for Mighty Max, they are going to know that he's there. That smoke goes down a bit late.
I got damage done to Mighty Max. "55 seconds to the clock, and this one is a slow walk in from HAVU out to the tunnels. Looks to be a B commitment, and they've only got Mezzi.
Oh, Mighty Max, how quickly does he come in? Shoulder, it leaks, peeks into that smoke, so they know that he's there, but you're right about Mezzi. He needs help, and he needs it now.
Slow trying to lurk out here towards the A play, and they've just gone full send into the A side because they've seen how many times HAVU have gone for this commit to the B play. Gonna wait. Mezzi set towards car. T-side players walking out mid to B. Disturbed gets the kill on Max. Mezzi gonna wait for them. Molotov's in. Ariel seen. 1 kill found. Damage being done as Disturbed comes in for the flank. Surreal can counter flank him. 3 versus 3. And the plant will be secured in this one. Retake on for Endpoint here. Zori not being seen. Molotov set by Surreal. His teammates coming in from the mid doors.
X7 might even just get forced out to the open. It all just comes down to this ramp play for the T side.
Doesn't get there in time. AK spray for X7 still comes up with a kill. Slowly dealt with by Surreal. 2 versus 2. Thomas trying to bait in. Zori's shot missed out. Damage being done by the AK still. They're such low HP, but the kills come forward for HAVU as they go to 16 and take the lead above Endpoint again.
Slowy's just thinking to himself, thank goodness my teammates on the site made that play, because that backstab looked like it was going to be the whole round winner, and instead the CTs are ready for it. They're able to punish him, but just X7 and Zori working together, establishing that crossfire and giving them the early lead in OT.
Auto snipers out for HAVU because they can do damage to Mezzi to start things off. The utility involved towards the longhouse once again. Ariel gets sprayed up heavily though. HP advantage, the nade will not catch him. It will catch Disturbed though, so decent damage being done by the CTs early here.
They could be happy with the early tag up of the Disturbed and for Ariel, especially after they get a couple of tags from Mezzi. Bit more emphasis out towards the upper tunnels to start this round off. Endpoint even going to have an aggressive short player.
Flashes over M4 in. Surreal gets tagged. Incendiary was smoked back to counteract for the T-side line. Gonna try drive him away. Aerial burns to 2. HP so low for him, HAVU. How do you go about this? 60 seconds. No casualties, but not a great position for yourselves to be in.
They're just waiting for a bit of a walk play, just waiting for one of the CTs to just get caught repositioning. But at least for Endpoint, they've got 2 players on B, so they're not going to get overwhelmed like they did. Bit of a short fake. This is going to be a play to B.
What? Surreal couldn't get that kill? Way too high on the crosshair placement. The spray goes so above Aerial, and not even Nezzy can hold down to the B site. 5v3, they played towards A, backstab involved, and it was top mid, and the AWP crucial. Got to go massive. He gets that first pick, but no more than that. Zori and Slowly clean up, and Max in a 1v4.
They just don't capitalize there at all. Aerial is so damn low. The trade just does not come in. Great peek out from that mid position. And for HAVU, really seemed like it was going to be a mid to B. It did kind of fake Endpoint ever so slightly to allow that short take to come in. Crucial only gets away with 1 AWP kill at ramp.
Oh, Endpoint. Oh, Endpoint. Did so well to get to this OT, but still struggling to close it out and get a lead above HAVU. Sniper's involved once again on the autos, tapping forward to the T-side line and playing a very dangerous game on Mighty Max. It costs him. Slowy finds the headshot through the wallbang. Starts things off for HAVU.
Anytime you hear those fire shots coming in, you just want to try and get out of the doors, don't you? Don't even want to get close, because there's always that chance you're just going to get picked off with the straight spam. HAVU, it just looks like they've come refreshed here on T-side of OT.
Yeah, they have. Endpoint. Knowing that these guys are in a hell of a spot. How do you play this out? How do you continue to fight from this back foot when you've known how difficult you've had to get even to this position? Still, HAVU are just posting up ridiculous rounds, ridiculous maps, when they shouldn't be doing so. Again, this team has a coach and a stand-in. How are they doing this?
Surreal out from the pit position. Got to expect him to get flashed off angle. Crucial can be a slight rotator to come through to try and back him up. They're just going to go dry about it.
Great kill on Slowy. 4 on 4. Crucial's got to come in and support now. Outside along, they're going to flash their way forward, completely blind off, and siphon Surreal back into a back corner, but he gets his secondary pick in. Tertiary 1 not found against X7, close range at the smoke, alongside the AWP. They're going to walk right past each other. Zori gets caught, and now X7 out in the open, gets the 2 kills back towards long control, but needs to grab the AWP and get the bomb to the site, up for the 4K clutch. And Nezzy wins the AWP duel, just holds on to Constellation, keeping away map point from HAVU.
Okay, that's at least a recovery, because the last thing any team wants on any map on any side is to give a 3-0 lead up to the opposition. So you answer him with 1, gives you a little bit of security to work with, but this game has really delivered in so many different ways that it's very difficult to kind of know how OT is going to pan out. You have to probably give the slight advantage for HAVU, because at least in the 3 rounds we've seen so far, they have looked like the better team.
Yeah, this has been a bit of a difficult one to weigh up. Technical pause called in for the moment. For HAVU, shouldn't take too long to resolve, I'm being told, so we'll just wait for a moment. Get that resolved and jump straight back into the second half of this OT. Endpoint still down on the round and looking stressed about it. I think they know that they shouldn't be in this position. This one has been far, far, far too close for them. Continue to struggle to get their opponent's map pick.
It hasn't been easy for either team, and for HAVU, you do have to give them a fair bit of credit, because again, this is a team that, like you mentioned, Jade, they're playing with a coach as a stand-in for over a month or so, not the best of circumstances, and up against a top tier 2 team of an Endpoint. They've taken them to OT on 2 maps in a quarterfinal game.
This one has gone down to the wire at this stage, and again, Both sides playing with heavy amounts of pressure, especially in the case of HAVU, knowing that if they lose out on this map, they go down 2-0 in this series, and then they're done here in Pinnacle. The Endpoint moving forward to those semi-finals. Boost up for the AWP. Dealt with by Surreal. Great opener for Endpoint. That's exactly what we want to see.
Yeah, just the aggressive move, trying to come through for Zori, try and get a little bit of tempo on that City side, try and fight for an opening man advantage. Goes the other way. Even X7 does hop his way over to the right-hand side, but he takes a fair, decent amount of damage.
A flash over, AWP shots and Crucial ringing out. Damage done to Mezzy, 77 on his count, but still better than X7's 47. Smokes involved as area watches towards elbow, slowly with the M4. Out of dodge. Backed up by the incendiaries, put up by the T-side line. Mighty Max being seen, but a spray goes so far awry. Gets a dink off on Thomas. Can't quite get a kill to capitalize on it. Finally deals with Mighty Max as Surreal comes back with a trade. Pistols involved, 4 versus 3. There's such low HP here for the T-side line, but all the headshots get landed, all the kills go their way, and they even up against HAVU again.
Very sloppy there from Slowy. He needed to find so much more than what he did. He only did chip damage, really, from that ramp position. And for Endpoint, it gets a little bit stagnated on the push out from short, but eventually they just start overwhelming, and the kills just come in so damn quickly. Double AWP set up out for both Slowy and for Zori. Looking to try and see if they can isolate a bit of a different approach, because Zori just got eliminated in that last round so damn quickly. Why are they not putting a smoke down for the cross again?
Crucial just knows how to hit those, and Thomas just about knows how to recover against X7. Can't double up on Aerial, though. 4 on 4, bit of an awkward sequence there towards the long control, and that easily could have been a man advantage for HAVU if things got a little bit better, but here we stand in default for Endpoint.
I don't know if Crucial can relay that information over that he got that tag shot in. Disturbed gonna take the NWP being the low HP player, and especially if he plays to the back plat position, gives himself a chance, but he misses the shot onto Mighty Max.
4 on 3. Endpoint still up in the lead and with the man advantage to try and take match point right here. Up on the crack angle, Zori cannot land it against Crucial. Surreal will block the smoke there towards the mid doors, and that will give a bit of breathing room here for the teams to make their way up towards Catwalk. Zori set with the AWP on the A site, though. Can he hold it down?
It seemed like he wanted to sneak. He wanted to try and make a bit of a play out from mid, but as soon as that util gets blocked, the information gets heard. Big off angle out from long for the CT side of Aerial.
Zori looking into the elbow position, flashes over, turn away from, shot missed out, AK does damage, does not get the kill, and now there's an M4 downstairs for Slowy. Is it no? Well, the nade towards Zori will tag him even further. Counter nades involved here for Slowy, should do some damage to return on to Mighty Max in particular, but Zori ends up falling. Now it's the M4s on attack from CT and long. They've seen Surreal, still can't land that headshot. Arrow comes up good, but Crucial with a response, so it's all to Slowy. 1v3, no util, no info, closed in upon from the long control, back to turn up in. Mezzy gets the kill shot, and Endpoint get match point.
They've got an opportunity of closing right here, right now. Do not take it to another overtime. Get the win, move forward into the series, just take the 2-0. Jeez, the T-side rounds at OT. We've seen 1 on CT, that's it. That was Endpoint. Now we get into the second half. It seems like momentum is just continuing here for the Brits.
Orps and auto snipers set in for the Endpoint side. And do damage once again towards the mid control. It's Surreal that finds the opening pick. Aerial got 2 to find a return. He only gets Mighty Max. Surreal doubles up. 2 for 1. One can get recovered here by Thomas. We're going to play this round out with the auto, I think. Flash forward. The AWP set for Slowy, expecting there to be an aggressive angle, but the T's are not going to give him that opportunity.
Slowy has to kind of be quite wide on this angle because there's no way he can just allow those crossbokes to go down, and for them to get closer towards the site, he needs to bring it back to a 3-on-3.
Hold up. Good shot on Crucial. Finds the head. Slowy to fall. Zori and Disturb. Last 2 players that remain. Zori in particular on the site. Smoke down towards big box. Surreal Gap in that smoke that can be detected by Disturb, but he can't land his frag, so it's all on Zombie to clutch the whole thing, and he just can't do it. HAVU did everything they could to hold Dust 2 together, but in the end, Endpoint with an overtime bonanza will hold themselves the 2-0 series and move forward to the semi-finals.
And that was not easy. That was definitely a hell of a fight to come through for Endpoint. They can look at that in hindsight and say, yeah, there were mistakes here or there. But the bottom line is they recovered situations in which they probably should have lost this game. When you're down 2-15 in map 1 and down 13-15 in map 2, normally it goes the way of HAVU, but it didn't happen today. They recovered the situation in both of those maps.
And it feels like Endpoint need to be pushed with their backs up against the wall before they can really come out and do some real decent damage in that match, especially. It was like, again, they were down on match point. They had to bring up 2 or 3 rounds before they were able to turn it into a victory. And that really was a hard ask. You know, it really was a very difficult match for them to win. 2-0 does not give it justice. 2 overtimes in that 2-0 Dweg. And for Endpoint, I look at this and I wonder whether or not their campaign is going to continue to be just as confident as it has been up until this point in the Swiss stage.
Well, I'm pretty sure we saw Surreal being 3 kills and 15 deaths at one point on Dust 2, and he ended up being the top fragger in the end there. He really turned things around. It seemed like finally when he got some form, finally when he started getting involved, that's when he just started skyrocketing and making some really, really crucial and high-impact plays.
Well, maybe some consistency issues to be worked on there for the Endpoint side, but for now they can rest easy with the victory for the rest of the evening as they look forward towards tomorrow's semi-finals against the likes of the Sinners Esports camp. That match is going to be looking dicey for the Endpoint camp, but as we head towards a short break, we have one more best of 3 for you. We look towards our semi-finals. We look towards our final quarter-final to see who's going to be facing Forza in the semi-finals. We'll bring you up towards the bracket to bring you up to date with how that all looks. Of course, Spirit and Fiend will be taking each other on after this short break, so do not go anywhere as the Pinnacle Cup rolls on with our final match of the day.